Let me say that again. Shalom, shalom, everybody. This lesson is about the 10 provocations or the 10 temptations in the wilderness. And this lesson is a fundamental lesson that Yah has commanded us to teach our children on a yearly basis and to ourselves as children. It is the lesson that we need fundamentally to be prepared for what Yah is doing in this gathering. If we don't get this lesson, we don't have a chance. So we're going to go through this, and as simple as it may be, it's heavy and it's deep at the same time. All right, easy for a child to understand. The temptations, Numbers 14, verse 22. Because all those men who have seen my glory and my signs, which I have worked in Egypt and in the wilderness, yet they have tempted me these 10 times and have not listened to my voice. I'm going to say that when we hit the 10 mark, that we broke almost every 10 commandment that he gave us. That in those 10 temptations, somewhere in its nature, in its foundation, in its spirit of the matter, it's a breaking of one of the 10. And so as he gave us 10, we tempted him 10 times. And a lot of us read those 10 commandments, which that's a lesson we got to do to break that down, how that goes. But we're going to see this very simple thing that we did in the wilderness and ask yourselves, are we walking in that spirit again? I say again that this walk is not just works. It's not about having the money, getting the ticket, and making the plan. It's about faith and work and works. And I'm going to show you that this lesson is the sum lesson of what faith truly is. The whole faith that Yah is asking us to walk in order for him to deliver us to his promise and the kingdom. So I'm going to ask you guys, as I already know the answer, now one of you on this board, not even I, after we go through these 10 temptations, can say that we're walking in that level of faith. But we're going to be tried and we're going to be tested. And so what all of us are going through trials and tribulations right now in our lives. Yah is uprooting, he's overturning, he's moving things out the way, he's shifting, he's causing chaos in your life. But all of these things is a test for your faith and a learning lesson to prepare you for more faith. For we know that faith comes in levels. That means it has to be exercised. And so you just can't jump to 100% faith without even having gone through the first test of any trial in your life in faith and gratitude. And so as everyone walks and says, I have faith in Yah, and we read these stories from year to year as we coming to the Pesach season, and we read these stories, we're like, well, how could they have done this? If I was there, I would have never done what they did. All of y'all say that. Isn't that true? Don't we all, Evan, we all said that?
Yes.
Yep, guilty.
We have all read this story and said, how could they? If I was there and I seen all of that, I would never rebel against Yah. I would have total faith in him. Let's see. Let's put some reality to this story and see if it's true. All right. Exodus 3:17. And I have said, I will bring you up out of affliction of Egypt to the land of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, the Jebusite, the land flowing with milk and honey. They will listen to your voice, and you shall come, you and the elders of Israel, to the king of Egypt, and you shall tell him, Yahweh, the Elohim of the Hebrews, has met with us. Now please let us go 3 days' journey in the wilderness, that we may sacrifice to Yahweh our Elohim. So I'm bringing this up right now because it was a good question that was posed to me by Oral the other day. And it was a good question. And so the question was, aren't we supposed to come up to Jerusalem 3 times a year, right? For our pilgrimages. And I said, technically, yes, but technically that's not the commandment. Now I'm going to open up the board for anyone to answer that before I do. What is the actual commandment for the 3 feasts? That Yah is the commandment to come up to Jerusalem 3 times a year? Anybody? I know, Oral, you already know the answer to that. Anybody?
Was it going to the wilderness?
It was to go into the wilderness to serve Yah. First of all, our first Passover, I just want y'all to understand this, even though it's a pilgrimage, the first Passover was kept in the land of Egypt, in the land of our captivity, right? This scenario was grace. And I'm not going to go into all of the sacrifices and all of that tonight, but I want you to understand that when you see the first inception of us keeping all the feast days, it was in the wilderness. Yah commanded us to come to the wilderness, to the mountain of Yah, to sacrifice to him in the wilderness. So the commandment is where Yah puts his name. The commandment is not go to the city of Jerusalem. It's where Yah puts his name. And so he put his name at Sinai at that point. That was a holy mountain, and he commanded us to come there. We failed at Sinai. So he rested at the Mishkan, right? At the meeting tent of the congregation, the Ohel HaMoed. So as we moved into Israel, I mean, we kept all 3 feast days in the wilderness for the last 40 years. So where was Jerusalem? Jerusalem is where the gathered are, where Yah is dwelling amongst them, where he puts his name. So when we came into Israel, it was not in the Jebusite city of Jerusalem. It was wherever the Mishkan was in the holies of holies. That's where Yah's name was. And so that's where the sacrifices went. We follow Yah. And so where he goes is where we go. That's Jerusalem, wherever he has set his name. Then it was set in Jerusalem. Jerusalem has been trodden down for over 2,000 years. It is no longer holy. There's no temple there anymore. So where is the temple now? Where's the Mishkan? Where's the Ohel HaMoed, the meeting tent of the congregation? Where is that?
Us?
It's in us. It's wherever 2 or 3 are gathered in his name. And that gathering at the end of the day will be in the wilderness. That is New Jerusalem. And the sacrifices is in us. We are the flesh that has to be sacrificed. Messiah was already sacrificed. So we have to now become a daily sacrifice to show the memorial that we have accepted the Passover. And so I also want to say again that though we know that we're commanded to come up 3 times a year, when we really do it, it's when Yah's returning us as the first fruits, not with first fruits. We are the first fruits. And the first fruits represent us having the Holy Spirit and the fruits of the Spirit. So when you walk with the Holy Spirit in Yah, you are the first fruits. You have fulfilled it in its entirety. That's the whole point of it. And so that's how we have to return. That's when Yah's not asking you to return in your sin. He's not asking you to return in defilement. He's not asking you to turn in just works. He's asking you to turn with the fruits of the Spirit. And that's when you will fulfill it correctly. Because I say to all of you now, don't come up to this land if you have not put down sin. Don't come. You will get a harder punishment in this land if if you're one of his, and you come up in this land and sin. I'm a witness. So I just wanted to make that clear. Yehoshua said to the woman, in that they say we should worship here, but you say in Jerusalem. And he says, I say to you, surely there's a day that neither will we worship in this mountain or Jerusalem, but the true worshipers are in us. That's Jerusalem. So I want to make that clear. Yah has he says, I'm trying you by the spirit of the matter. There are some of you that I know, that all of you I know on this board, if you could, you would come up 3 times a year. I know that every single last one of you on this board that I'm familiar with, if you could, you would just come, period.
Amen.
Right?
Yep.
So Yah knows if that's in your heart or not. So what is he judging? He's judging your heart in the matter, if it's in your heart to come up. So some of you can't make it up. I get it. But he will make the way when it is right. And so until then, he'll count it as righteousness for you. for you made the oath in your heart. It's almost like that's the wedding. So you was like, when I can make it to the wedding, I'm coming, yeah. I'm coming. Right? Exodus 7:16. You shall tell him, Yahweh, the Elohim of the Hebrews, has sent me to you, saying, let my people go, that they may serve me in the wilderness. Give me 1 second. I got heat on and it's hot. So that's where we're going to go again. That's what we were supposed to do it the first time. As I showed you in the lecture of New Jerusalem, when we went to the mountain, that was heaven come down. That was our souls. And if we had completed the task then, the kingdom would have manifested in us at that time, right there in the wilderness. And he's going to do it again. And so this is why this story is important, because he has to bring us through the fire. He has to try us to know that our hearts are pure in order to receive his true kingdom. Exodus 8:26-28. Pharaoh called for Moses and for Aaron and said, go, sacrifice to your Elohim in the land. Moshe said, it isn't appropriate to do so, for we shall sacrifice the abomination of the Egyptians to Yahweh our Elohim. Behold, shall we sacrifice the abomination of the Egyptians before their eyes? And won't they stone us? We will go 3 days' journey into the wilderness and sacrifice to Yahweh our Elohim as he shall command it. Can anybody tell me what this is about? When Yah says that we will be sacrificing the Egyptian abomination? Anybody?
Where were you reading from?
I'm in Exodus 8, chapter 25-27.
Oh, I see. Okay, sorry.
Anybody got any idea what Moses is saying while we can't sacrifice there? Because we will be sacrificing the abomination of the Egyptians.
The Egyptians, they worshipped other deities, so to use their altars and their slaughter places, it's like it's a contamination, right, to that which is holy. Yes, no,
no, not quite. It's gonna be an interesting one. Any other thoughts?
I would think maybe something, well, I would think personally, being that we're in the land of Egypt, in a sense, something that we would be sacrificing to the Most High would be unclean because we've not yet been cleansed.
No, Yah was there with Moses. Yah followed Moses. He said, I'll be with you. Yah was there. No, so we sacrificed goats and herd. We had cattle, we had cows, and we had sheep. The Egyptians worshiped the cow and the goat. That was their idol. They did not eat red meat. There is history that says that a lot of them actually, I won't say vegetarians, but what do you call it when they eat fish and dairy, but they don't eat meat? What do you call that again?
Like
Presbyterian.
Presbyterians, all these Tarians. I can't deal. So there is evidence to show that it was the culture not to eat sheep and herd, because it was an idol that they worshipped. You will still find that some places in India today, where yes, some of them do eat the meat, but some of them, when they worship a specific animal, you can't touch that animal. Like they worship the rat. You better not step on a rat. They're gonna kill you. They got whole temples that's dedicated to rats. And so you don't get to touch the rat. You can't kill it. You can't do nothing. And so this would be an offense to them. Obviously, it might have been a law. And so they weren't able to do it, because we're talking about a sacrifice for every firstborn. That was a lot of animals being slaughtered at once. Okay. We left in haste. Exodus 11, verse 1. Yahweh said to Moshe, yet one plague more will I bring on Pharaoh and on Egypt. Afterwards, he will let you go. When he lets you go, he shall surely thrust you out altogether. Exodus 12:38. And a mixed multitude went up also with them, with the flocks, the herd, and very much livestock. They baked 11 cakes as dough which they brought forth out of Egypt, for it wasn't leavened, because they were thrust out of Egypt and couldn't wait. Neither had they prepared for themselves any food. So this is another reality that I want y'all to understand about the rebellion that took place in the wilderness. The mixed multitude in all of Israel did not all want to leave willingly. They got kicked out the land. This is something that's a little different than what's happening now. We left then in haste. If we did not leave when Yah had told us to leave, what would have happened the next morning?
We would have died.
After they got finished crying over their dead loved ones that night, the anger would have set in and they would have slaughtered all of us. And so Yah knew this. Some people might say, well, y'all could have stopped them. No. Yah's perfect plan is to allow things to happen to move you the way he wants to move you. And so this is another thought that we have while we're in Babylon, another similarity that we just, Yah says, leave. Your enemies are going to come for you. But we keep saying, no, Yah is with us. Who could be against us? He's going to fight for us. And he's clearly said your enemies are stronger than you. This is not the one. Nor was this the one. He needs to put you in a situation where he can prove that he's the one that's going to fight your battle. And so what he did this time, he's going to do again to prove that he's Yah. To prove that he's Yah. First temptation. Any guesses? I know you guys already know. You're not guessing. Y'all know this story, but there's 10. So let's see how simple these wicked temptations were that caused us not to get into the land. First temptation. All right. Exodus 14:3-11. Actually from verse 1. Yahweh spoke to Moshe saying, speak to the children of Israel that they turn back and encamp before Pi-Hiroth, between Migdol and the sea, before Baal Zephon. You shall encamp opposite it by the sea. Pharaoh will say of the children of Israel, they are entangled in the land. So this is Yah orchestrating this whole situation. Yah is doing this. What, from Moses' perspective and from the people's perspective, they were like, what are you doing, Moses? Where are you leading us? I thought you told us that Yah said, go this way. Why are we going backwards and going in circles, right? And so that's how the people would speak. But Yah is orchestrating this to put you in the rock, in a hard place, to put you between the mountain and the sea. So I want you to understand this faith that Yah is, when he's proving himself, what position you need to be in to know that Yah worked something out in your life and it wasn't by your hands. When you don't have no choice, when you're in a rock in a hard place, between the ocean and the mountain, and your enemies are right there and you have nothing that you can do. That's what Yah wants us to go through. Understand this, because we are going to go through situations in our life that looks like there's no answer from what our eyes and our ears and our senses can imagine and our hands can do to get us out of. And when you find yourself in that situation, that's the time to understand Yah put you there so that you can work out his faith, so he can prove himself to you. How many of you give up and poo-poo face before you even get in that position to allow him to show you his mighty wonders? Poo-poo face. You can't, you want, I mean, you want to get on a roller coaster, but you get on the down and you're like, oh my goodness, what is Yah doing to me? I thought I was righteous. I thought he was with me. I felt him last week. I don't feel him right now. Right? So we get in this situation that look like all hell done broke loose in our life. Right? And then you're tested to see how grateful you are, how much you love Yah. If your reality of what's true to what's going on with you is not, if you believe what Yah has said, right? So Pharaoh will say to the children of Israel, they are entangled in the land. The wilderness has shut them in, and I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and he will follow after them. and I will get honor over Pharaoh. Yah is doing this for his honor, and he's going to do this to us again at the end of the 3.5 years in the wilderness. And we are going to cry out just like that and totally depend on Yah. And over all his armies, and the Egyptians shall know that I am Yahweh that did so. So Yah is not just trying to prove also himself to us, but he's going to prove himself to the whole world. And so you have to allow Yah to put you in a place where you have no control, so you can let go and let Yah. 5. And it was told to the king of Egypt that the people had fled, and the heart of Pharaoh and of his servants was changed towards the people. And they said, what is this we have done, that we have let Israel go from serving us? He prepared his chariot and took his army with him. And he took 600 chosen chariots and all the chariots of Egypt and the captains over them. Yahweh hardened the heart of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and he pursued after the children of Israel. For the children of Israel went out with a high hand. The Egyptians pursued after them, all the horses and the chariots of Pharaoh, his horsemen and his army, and overtook them, encamping by the sea, besides Pi-hahiroth, before Baal-Zephon. So we see that the army surrounded us and had us. The army surrounded. Why do I hear echo? I hear echo. Okay. All right. When Pharaoh drew near, the children of Israel lifted up their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians were marching after them, and they were very afraid. The children of Israel cried out to Yahweh. They said to Moses, now this crying out, is this a crying out to Yahweh, or this is a complaining to Yahweh?
It's a complaint.
It's a complaint. It was a woe is me type to Yah. It wasn't Yah, you got this, right? It wasn't Yah, you do this. You do this. You are crying out to Yah to come and deliver us. They said to Moses, because there was no graves in Egypt, have you taken us away to die in the wilderness? Why have you treated us this way to bring us forth out of Egypt? Isn't this the word that we spoke to you in Egypt, saying, leave us alone, that we may serve the Egyptians? So I want y'all to understand that when I say a lot of us got kicked out. All of Israel did not willingly leave Egypt. That's why we had so much rebellion in the wilderness. Everybody did not want to go, and everyone did not know who Moses was or Yah. They were just kicked out and was going along with the flow. They didn't know. And so that spirit was still on a lot of them as they were kicked out. The whole time Moses was there, he was fighting with the elders and the people to get them to realize that it was to prepare themselves, that it was time to go. And a lot of us rebelled against that. And we're doing it now. I know half of y'all like, I wish you never showed up in my life. The moment you showed up, everything got turned upside down, right? It's like it was better that I never knew the truth. I was good in Babylon. You messed it up type stuff, right? And truly, when you come to Yah, that's what it's going to look like. Sort of like you're going to mess your life up a little bit, you know? So some of us said this to Moshe. Leave us alone. We don't want to go nowhere. Moshe provoked the situation with Yah's hand and will so bad that we got kicked out. Now, I'm going to ask you this question right now. If somebody was to come along like as in the Moshe, turn up the situation so bad in Egypt, right? And call Yah's plagues that Trump would let us go, how many of the population of Negroes and Negrorettes would be happy about that?
Oh, I'd be so happy.
Besides the 30 of you on this board.
One out of every 10. One out of every 10.
No.
Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that. One
out of a million. 1 out of every million. The other 9,99999 would be pissed.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, you
seen how it was when Trump was about to get elected, that everybody was afraid that he was gonna send him back to Africa. That was letting you know now.
Man, these Negroes don't want to go to Africa, that much less the wilderness, right? Man, they don't want to leave Babylon. And so we're dealing with the same spirit that we had then. So where are we in this, right? For it were better for us to serve the Egyptians that we would die in the wilderness. Now, y'all say at this point, no, I'm not that one. I want to go, right? I want to go. I'm ready to go in the wilderness. No, y'all not ready to go in no wilderness. I'm about to show you which one you might be in these 10 temptations. Yeah, you saying it. Let's see, right? Moshe said to the people, don't be afraid. Stand still. Now that stand still, you know, all those Christians be like, stand still and see the salvation. I hate it when they say that because they just be lying on the script like that meant don't move, right? No, it said be calm, relax, chill out, have faith, right? Don't be afraid is to don't be unsettled in your spirit about what's about to happen, right? And see the salvation of Yahweh, which he will work for you today. For the Egyptians who you have seen today, you shall never see them again. Yahweh will fight for you, and you shall be still. So we can see that this being still is to be at peace, right? It is what faith will do to you. It will still your waters, calm your waters down, right? So the first temptation was fear and the lack of faith. We felt trapped by the army. We didn't believe that Yah could fight our battles. We didn't have no control over the situation, and we didn't see no strength in our own hands to win this battle. And so we actually blamed Yah and was mad at him for putting us in that situation. We had no faith at all, and we completely was afraid. All right, I'm gonna stop right there. I see some questions or hands. I think I see 10.
Nah, that's no question. I don't see
No
nobody
question?
raising their hands.
No, okay, all right. So that's what took place there. And so the beginning of wisdom is the fear of Yah, and not to fear the enemies when Yah has directed the situation, when he's already told you what I'm going to do, right? We had no faith at all. No faith at all. Now, once again, that was not inside of Egypt. That was outside of Egypt, in the wilderness, right? Second temptation, Exodus 15. The waters of Marah, verse 22. Moses led Israel onward from the Red Sea, and they went out into the wilderness of Shur, and they went 3 days in the wilderness and found no water. All right, I'm gonna ask you right now, if I took any of y'all to Jordan, Sinai, or even through Israel, and I didn't give you water for 24 hours, what would you do?
Deal with it.
Yeah. I don't know about everybody else, but I'm telling you, we experienced this during Katrina.
Hallelujah.
We were stuck under the bridge with nothing.
Mhm.
24 hours, 48 hours probably, in the sun.
I believe he definitely prepared you for what's to come.
And we were very calm. Everybody else was looking crazy. We were like, what's wrong with y'all people? We are alive.
Right? 3 days without water. What would you say? Not me. Let's say Moshe. Forget Talia. I'm just a little old girl. Moshe took you out in the wilderness and you didn't have water for 3 days. Where are you? Are you one of these rebels in the wilderness at this point? Ask yourselves. You don't have to answer, but you better be honest with yourself, because if you're not, you're going to repeat it, because he's going to take us through it again. And so there's a reason why he's doing all of this as you go through certain trials and tribulation in your life right now. Now, can anybody tell me what does it mean why he didn't give us 3 days? 3 days of no water. Can anybody?
I would say 3 days without the Messiah.
That's right.
Without his word.
It was pointing towards his death, burial, resurrection. He'd be buried 3 days and 3 nights. This 3 days without water was when Messiah, it was right after Passover. And he was buried and then he rose. That's what he's the living waters. And so it was pointing to us going 3 days without him. And it was on the same date. This was 3 days right after Passover. The first 3 days we had no water. When they came to Marah, they couldn't drink from the waters of Marah, for they were bitter. Therefore, its name was called Marah. The people murmured against Moshe, saying, what shall we drink? Then he cried to Yahweh. Yahweh showed him a tree, and he threw it into the waters, and the waters were made sweet. And we can see the similitude of the waters and the tree, for we know that Yahushua is the tree, right? He's the tree of life. He's the husbandman. He's the branch. We know that. And he's the waters. And this is a similitude of what Yahushua is to represent. Living waters. There he made a statute and an ordinance for them, and there he tested them. And he said, if you will diligently listen to the voice of Yahweh your Elohim, and will do that which is right in the eyes, and will pay attention to his commandments, and keep all his statutes, I will put none of these diseases on you, which I have put on the Egyptians, for I am Yahweh who heals you. Off the bat, before we even get to the New Testament, if you're suffering with sickness and disease, it's because of what?
Sin.
Sin. So, but where does it go? Where is it coming through? How is it getting into how is it taking effect in your body?
Through the blood, through your thought process, through
your
through
water.
your heart, through your water.
Through your water. Through your water. So what does this polluted water, why was this polluted water connected to Yah saying, if you keep my commandments and pay it, that none of these diseases will heal you? Though he put the tree in the water, the tree represents the tree of Yah's commandments, his word, Yahushua, right? And he put those in his waters. You are a body of water, a body of water. And so, like I said, what you think, right, changes the molecular structure of your water to become poison or life to you. So he's showing you the mystery of water. And so, as I tell you that you're drinking polluted water, how many times that I've told you that you got to walk in Yah's commandments, bless him, bless the water, be grateful and in gratitude in your mindset and in your heart, so that even though the waters are poison, he can change the waters and turn them sweet, though they're bitter for you, and none of the diseases of Egypt will touch you. And so I've showed you the mystery about how the water, that we got control over the waters, that our heart is an electromagnetic shield that can change the molecular structure of waters inside of us and out. So everybody's doing these, what is it? The hexagonal water, the Kagan water, right? The machines that's turning the water into a perfect what? 6-pointed molecular structure. There's a mystery to the 6-point star, right? Perfect water when it's when the electromagnetic hertz, right, hits that water that is structured in love, what they call the emotion that love and gratitude exudes out of your heart, changes the molecular structure into a 6-pointed 2-dimensional molecular structure. This is what they call perfect healing water. Here's the problem with the machine. So the machine works like a heart, but your heart will override the water as soon as you drink it. So that's why it's not healing you. It could help, but it won't heal you to drink those waters and spend 5,000 shekels on a machine when Yah's already given you the secret how to override it all. So this was a test. This was a test. Now, science tells us that we can't go, what, 3 days without water, 7 days without food? Is that what it is? Lo and behold, that's the science that we think now. Don't he have to show you that's not true, that you're on life? So, you know, I fasted 7 days. And people are like, without no water? I mean, like, no water. They'd be like, how are you living? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You can't live. And Yah has also got to overchange all the sciences that we've been taught life is, to show you this, it's not true. None of it. None of it. All right. So the second temptation was complaining that you had no water. So when we go in the wilderness, are you going to complain? 3 days in the heat without no water? Are you going to complain? Huh. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Some of y'all came, I told y'all the ones that came, y'all failed. Y'all was like, is this all we got for breakfast? I was like, y'all just got a homemade meal. What? We're gonna get to it. It's a learning lesson. So I ask you now, like we live in life. So forget the wilderness. Here you go, all of you. Y'all know when you come to me, the first thing I ask when y'all say, I need help, y'all put me in this situation. I'll be like, you got food? You got water? Not even so much shelter. Are you in a place that you're protected? Let's put it like that. You're good. Praise Yah. Praise Yah. So some of you might got some Velveeta and some bread and some raisins, right? And that's all you got for breakfast on the Shabbat. And so now you feel like you're not satisfied. So you're like, let me go to the store and get a breakfast. That's all you got to eat for a week. Could you be satisfied and be grateful? Because I'm telling you that y'all put me through this. Well, all I had was water one day. And when I got this, when he showed me this lesson about faith, he said, it's all in the water. Just be grateful. I drank that little glass of water with so much gratitude. I said, thank you, Yah. In this water holds everything that my body needs. If this is all I got today, guess what? I'm still alive and I'm healthy. I drank that water like it was the best water on earth. Y'all, it's true. It is true. Right? It's true. Yah is real. And he needs your faith to work through your living waters so that he can bless you. So we complained about water. I say right now that most of you on this board, not in the wilderness, not in the heat, in Babylon alone, if your dirty water was turned off, you would go mad and crazy. And you would be calling Talia and be like, I don't know what's happening to me. I don't feel Yah in my presence. Why is this happening? All of this stuff. And I'm like, chill out. Nothing happens. You like one big sack of water. You're not going to dry up in 3 days, right? You're good. You're going to be all right. Just bless Yah. Bless Yah. So this is the lesson of faith. So you got this kind of faith. None of y'all are lacking water. Y'all lacking sweet water. But okay, so what's the third temptation? We provoked Yah twice already. We was in between a rock and a hard place. We didn't believe Yah. Provoked Yah. Yah was not happy about that. He didn't give us water for 2 days. We fussed about it. Yah was not happy about that. Exodus 16, verse 1. They took their journey from Elim, and all the congregation of the children of Israel came to the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the 2nd month, after their departing out of the land of Egypt. The whole congregation of the children of Israel murmured against Moshe and against Aaron in the wilderness. And the children of Israel said to them, we wish that we had died in the hands of Yahweh in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the meat pots, when we ate our fill of bread, for you have brought us into the wilderness to kill the whole assembly with hunger. Y'all got that kind of faith right now not to complain? They didn't have food. I don't know how long this was that they didn't eat. But we in the 15th day of the 2nd month. I can't say that they didn't eat anything yet, right? They did have unleavened bread for a while, but it looked like that they went out without food for a while. So how many of y'all would curse y'all already? Or complain? Or swear that Yah has left you and abandoned you? Or could you still be grateful and say, I'm still alive and I got life and he's sustaining me, right? I point out the 15th day of the 2nd month because that is the second Passover that he's commanded you to keep if you are defiled or you're out the land. So something happened on that day, and that day Yah brought in the bread, the manna from heaven, and the quail. And so that was another appearing of Yah again to also keep the Passover. So he says, Moshe again, Aaron in the wilderness, children of Israel, we wish that we had died in the hand of Yah in the land of Egypt. I'm telling you that a lot of our people are saying this now. When you tell them, if you don't get out, and it's mostly our elders, right, from 55 and up, that when you say Yah's commanding you to leave America because we're going to get killed and we're going to get destroyed and slaughtered by the Egyptian army in the land. And they said, well, I'm just going to die here. I'd rather just die here. How many of y'all heard that from our elders? Even some of the young people.
Yep.
Wicked. Wicked. They wish that they had died in Egypt rather than die here. Right? And what they were saying is that I would have rather died with meat in my fill of bread, like life, enjoying life. Let me die and enjoy my life. Leave me alone. That's what the elders are saying, right? And you had brought us into the wilderness to kill the whole assembly with hunger. So this was the third temptation. We tested Yah. And okay, let me continue to read. Then Yahweh said to Moshe, behold, I will rain bread from the sky for you, and the people shall go out and gather a day's portion every day, that I may test them, whether they will walk in my law or not. It shall come to pass on the 6th day that they shall prepare that which they bring in, and it shall be twice as much as they gather daily. Moshe and Aaron said to the children of Israel, at evening, then you shall know that Yahweh has brought you out of the land of Egypt. And in the morning, then you shall see the glory of Yahweh, because he hears your murmuring against Yahweh. Who are we that you murmur against us? Was that the third one? Yes. Okay. And 8, Moshe said, now Yahweh shall give you meat to eat in the evening, and in the morning bread to satisfy you, because Yahweh hears your murmuring, which you murmur against him. So they murmured against Moshe, but they weren't murmuring against Moshe. They were murmuring against Yah, because Yah was doing it. Moshe said to Aaron, tell all the congregation of the children of Israel, come near before Yahweh, for he has heard your murmuring. It happened as Aaron spoke to the whole congregation of the children of Israel, that they looked towards the wilderness, and behold, the glory of Yah appeared in the cloud. Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, I have heard the murmuring of the children of Israel. Speak to them, saying, at evening you shall eat meat, and in the morning you shall be filled with bread, and you shall know that I am Yahweh your Elohim. So the third temptation was that they complained about eating meat and bread, hunger. They wanted a full stomach every day. And we eat 3 meals a day. Would you complain if Yah just gave you 1 meal a day? Or would you be grateful? Because in the wilderness, they don't eat 3 meals a day. They actually eat twice a day. That's the culture of the East. It's really 2 meals a day. A late breakfast, tea and nuts and fruit in the middle of the day, and a big dinner. I see some raised hands. Go ahead.
Yes. Now I had a question because I am I'm a vegetarian. I don't eat meat.
Mhm.
And I was wondering, do you think it was also because they craved, do you think it's because they craved meat, like to something too that he was angered? Because, they said originally y'all made it for us not to eat animals. And I don't know
Okay.
answers
So,
on.
all right. So I have a lesson of the Garden of Eden, which we haven't seen yet, where I show you that the fruits and the vegetables in the garden is not real fruits and vegetables. Adam and Eve, I'm gonna just say it right now. Adam and Eve did not eat. They were angels.
Okay.
It wasn't an issue of, as soon as they fell, they ate meat. Sacrifices was in effect as soon as Adam fell. And Yah commanded him to eat meat because now he's living by the flesh, right? And so there's other commandments where he's commanded them to eat meat. The commandment to eat lamb on the Passover was still in effect. What it was, we're going to see that it was about being full of their desire to constantly just eat to their lust. So you see, it's not just meat and bread. We're going to see that it's more than just, it's not about meat. Because we complained about vegetables too. So some of y'all vegetarians, there's no vegetables in the wilderness. There's meat in the wilderness though. you know.
Yeah.
And so
Well, see, I'm just vegetarian right now in Babylon, but I mean, I probably would eat meat in another land, but not here.
all
Definitely
right, when
not
you
here.
get here, you're gonna get your fill. So that's a whole nother discussion. We got a couple of vegetarians on the board that feel the same way and have come to some understanding to I'm sorry, Pamela, some reason there's an echo. I don't know if you got two computers on, but you're gonna have to mute yourself. Okay, okay. So no, it wasn't just about meat. It was just, I mean, we were farmers and herders, so that was our main meal. There's the Hebrew Israelite diet is like around meat. I don't know if y'all know that. Do anyone realize that the Bedouin Eastern life, the diet is meat? Even the priesthood, like the diet is meat first, and meat and bread, and that is the diet of the wilderness. There's not a lot of vegetables in the wilderness. There's some. It's the same it's the same variety of vegetables, which is basically root vegetables like carrots, potatoes, all that stuff that grows rooted in the roots of the Israel. Even Israel itself, even though they are irrigating this land to produce everything else, this land does not naturally produce all of those vegetables that y'all are used to having. And neither does the wilderness. Now, what Yah said he will do for us, the wilderness is a whole nother thing, but the wilderness, we're not about to have, what do you call it, super farm. There's no super farm in the wilderness, y'all. But there's definitely lots of lambs, goats, and sheep. Okay. So what was the fourth temptation? So I ask you now, as we look at the first, second, and third, how many of us was in that group in the wilderness? If we was to go through this right now, where would you be? Would you be one of those complainers? All right.
A quick question before we move on. What was the last verse for Exodus?
Last
16?
verse was 12, Exodus 16 and 12.
Toda.
Okay, moving forward. So what's the fourth temptation? Exodus 16:22. It happened on the sixth day that they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers for each one, and all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moshe. He said to them, this is that which Yahweh has spoken. Tomorrow is the solemn rest, a holy Shabbat to Yahweh. Bake that which you want to bake, and boil that which you want to boil, and all that remains over lay it up for yourselves to be kept until the morning. They laid it up until the morning, and Moshe asked, and it didn't become foul. As Moshe asked, and it didn't become foul. Neither was there any worm in it. Moshe said, eat that today, for today is the Shabbat to Yahweh. Today you shall not find it in the field. 6 days you shall gather it, but on the 7th day is the Shabbat. In it there shall be none. 27. And it happened on the 7th day that some of the people went out to gather, and they found none. Yahweh said to Moshe, how long do you refuse to keep my commandments and my laws? Behold, because Yahweh has given you the Shabbat, therefore he gives you on the 6 days the bread of 2 days. Everyone stays in his place. Let no one go out of his place on the 7th day. So the people rested on the 7th day. That was the fourth temptation. The breaking of the Shabbat, complete disobedience. Like the first week, he said it, like they just tried, they didn't believe Yah. They just did it anyway. Yah said, and that was the first commandment that he gave us, y'all. It ain't like he gave us all 10 commandments yet. Y'all know that, right? So when Yah keeps saying, if you keep my commandments and my law, he's actually establishing the heart of how to keep his commandments perfectly, which is one is have faith, fear Yah. The complaining is have gratitude. The opposite of the complaining is be grateful, be grateful, be grateful, right? And the other one is obey what I say. I said, listen to what I said. Keep the Shabbat. All right. So what's the fifth temptation? Let's see. Exodus 17, starting at verse 1. All the congregations of the children of Israel traveled from the wilderness of Sin by their journeys, according to Yahweh's commandment, and encamped in Rephidim. But there was no water for the people to drink. Therefore, the people quarreled with Moses and said, "Give us water to drink." So they weren't murmuring this time. They was about to fight. This was bigger now, right? Moshe said to them, "Why do you quarrel with me? Why do you test Yahweh?" So every time they came against their leader because they didn't have what they thought they should have, they didn't know that they are testing Yah. Because whatever Yah put them in, that was a situation that Yah was testing them, right? The people were thirsty for water there, and the people murmured against Moshe and said, "Why have you brought us up out of Egypt to kill us, our children, and our livestock with thirst?" Moshe cried to Yahweh, saying, "What shall I do with these people? They are almost ready to stone me." Yahweh said to Moshe, "Walk on before the people and take the elders of Israel with you, and take the rod in your hand with which you struck the Nile, and go. Behold, I will stand before you there on the rock of Horeb. You shall strike the rock, and water will come out of it, that the people may drink." Moshe did so in the sight of the elders of Israel. He called the name of the plain Massah and Meribah, because the children of Israel quarreled, and because they tested Yahweh, saying, "Is Yahweh among us or not?" That's the test. So when you're going through a down place, and some of y'all be like, "I feel like I felt so glorious last week. I felt the word warmth in my heart. I felt the light, but I feel like he's not with me this week. I don't know. I'm not hearing nothing from him. I'm not feeling inspired." And so you're like, "Is Yah with me?" And some of y'all call me and I'll be like, "What? Just listen, just is a time to just be still and know that he is. He's there. Just be. Just be." And so this is a test of faith once again, to know that he is. Y'all so what marriage, y'all know y'all in that kind of bliss with your mates all the time. You know, it's like that in the beginning, right? Right? It's just bliss, like your heart is just thumping, like I feel like y'all, like, "Oh, I know he's about to call me. I feel it." His spirit is with me, right? So y'all are waiting, y'all all want that high in the roller coaster, right? And that's not real, y'all. Y'all think that the Holy Spirit y'all gotta feel it all through your bones every day to know that his spirit is walking with you, to rest and be at peace with his spirit. You gotta hear a word. That's why when I see all these people do these little drive-by lessons, I call them the drive-by shooting, right? These are drive-by. That's not the Holy Spirit, y'all. That's a demon in the car. That they got to have something to say. And the Spirit done talk to them every day to tell y'all something. It ain't nothing. No. You think Moses did not want to talk to the people on a daily basis like that? That wore him out. He was like, "Listen, y'all, Yah is right there. Can y'all chill out? We here. We good." So no, that's the Spirit don't work like that. And y'all question yourselves now, don't you? Is Yah with us? When you're going through, when you're not having a high emotional, romantic moment with Yah. I see some hands. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's me. No, I was going to kind of mention it's the same way with these YouTube ministries. When the YouTube ministries don't do a live on Shabbat, or don't do a live in a week, when you like kind of glance at the people and they're like, "Oh my goodness, I missed you last week," or "Where have you been? I needed this." It's kind of like that.
Yeah, they act like they just starved, right? Like they didn't get no daily bread. And so listen, Yah just gave you his word last week. You still should be feasting on that. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, they act like they like something happened if they don't get what they call the daily bread. But the daily bread is Yah, his word coming to remembrance inside of you, meditating on his word daily. You don't have to hear a word from Talia. And so some of y'all use me like that. What do I tell y'all? I am not your daily bread. Please don't call me every day for a word. I've already given you Yah's bread. Just store it up. Store it up. You know, eat it. Recall it. Because I'm going to give you the same word every time you call me. It's going to be this word. What? Well, Yah's tested you. Are you grateful? Are you thankful? Are you fearful? That's what I'm going to ask you. And then you got to ask yourself. And so somebody, when you get in that place where you are upset, you're fearful, you're angry or ungrateful, you are angry at somebody. Who are you angry at? Talia or Yahweh? You're angry at something, and you're blaming something and somebody for your condition. You know, was there another hand? Nope, nope. Okay. So this was another test. Is Yah amongst us or not? And so that would, you know, that's very insulting. That's very insulting. Your husband gotta go and he gotta go to work, but you like the desperate woman and like, I just need him here all the time. When is he coming home? Is he? I don't feel like you love me because you spend 8 hours away every day. I'm just making up. You know, it's like a desperate woman. Is Yah with us? And we do that. We do that now. I know we do that. So the fifth temptation was the complaining about also no water again and doubting Yah's presence in us, though he proved himself that he was there the whole time. Right? What is the sixth temptation? Exodus 19 and 29. Exodus 19, verse 13. Whoever touches the mountain shall surely be put to death. No hand shall touch him, but he shall surely be stoned or shot through. Whether it is an animal or man, he shall not live. When the trumpet soundeth long, they shall come up to the mountain. So this is one of those things that I clarified in the lesson, that we were supposed to go up into the mountain. We could not touch. He put barriers until we heard all the commandments of Yah. And he says, when the trumpet grows long, then tell the people to come up. But we did not allow Yah to finish speaking his word so that his spirit can indwell in us and purify our hearts with his fire in that moment, right? So that we could come up into the mountain. So the mountain was holy. Yah had to clean our insides with his word before we can touch that mountain or we would burn. And it's going to happen again. So when I tell you that Yah was purifying our hearts through this whole scenario, all of the tests that he put us through, the water, the no food, the water twice, the fear, was Yah purifying our hearts so that we can walk through the fire and not burn. I'm going to show you that all of this was Yah trying to purify our hearts. All the people perceived, I skipped down to 13, 20, I'm in 29 and 18. All the people perceived the thundering and the lightning. So this is the effect when the trumpet grew loud. We were supposed to go up and walk in the fire. All the people perceived the thundering and the lightning, the sound of the trumpet and the mountain smoking. And when the people saw it, they trembled and they stayed at a distance. They said to Moses, speak with us yourself and we will listen, but don't let Elohim speak with us, lest we die. Moshe said to the people, don't be afraid, for Elohim has come to test you, that his fear may be before your faces, that you won't sin. So who are we supposed to fear? Yahweh. And the fear of Yahweh is what we need in order to purify our hearts so that we won't sin against him. The whole time we've been sinning against him because we didn't fear Yah and we weren't grateful. We didn't love Yah. We showed lack of love and fear, respect and love in all of those scenarios. The people stayed at a distance as Moshe drew near to the thick darkness where Elohim was. Yahweh said to Moshe, this is what you shall tell the children of Israel. You yourselves have seen that I have talked with you from heaven. You shall most certainly not make alongside of me Elohim of silver, Elohim of gold for yourselves. So this was another test that we failed. We didn't want to hear Yah's voice. How many of y'all right now says, if I heard it from Yah, I'd believe it? I want Yah to, how many of y'all are saying right now, I don't want the prophet to speak. I want to hear it direct from Yah. But y'all already said you don't want to hear it from him. You didn't want to hear his voice. The Holy Spirit is the carrier of his voice. But we're going to hear it through our whole body and our whole members again. It's going to be like thundering and lightning and fire and smoke. Y'all really want to hear his voice? Y'all ready to hear his voice? Okay. So when y'all see, one of y'all called me last week, like, I feel earthquake underneath me. Was you a little bit scared? A little bit? So you ready to stand there when the whole earth shakes and it's fire and lava shooting out and smoke and thundering and lightning? Y'all ready to stand there and not be like, oh my goodness, get out of here, run? Y'all gonna stand there? Really? Y'all ready for that? Because it's gonna happen again. All right. So the sixth temptation was simply Shema Israel. The fear of death over the fear of Yah's voice. We were scared to die. But Yah said, don't fear the first death. Fear me. Fear me that I can kill the soul and the flesh. Because he was trying to kill y'all at the mountain. Y'all don't know that y'all was the sacrifice, not the animals? That y'all was the flesh that was going to be sacrificed on the mountain? Y'all was going to burn, but you wasn't going to feel it? It didn't happen. Y'all didn't give the perfect sacrifice. That's what he was trying to do, but y'all was scared to die. How many of y'all are scared to die now to the flesh? Your ego's hurt and it burns when somebody hurts your ego and you fight it because you don't want to die. You be like, you trying to kill my spirit. That you darn right. You darn right. People call that evil. I mean, that's right. Y'all trying to kill your spirit. But when all y'all met me, what did I say? I said, don't run before you let me build it back up in his spirit, right? But he got to kill you first. And so your egos are going to get hurt. Your feelings are going to get hurt. We're going to have offenses between one another. And all of that is Yah allowing certain people to come in our lives to test us against our own egos. So if you ask Yah, I got a problem with anger. Help me get over it so I can walk in your spirit. What's Yah going to do? He gonna
send you somebody who's gonna boil your blood.
Man, he gonna every body that you he can make you angry. He about to send in your life. So you ask Yah to overcome temptation of lust. What is he gonna do? Put you in the mountain and like a nun? What is Yah gonna do when you ask him to overcome the temptation? Of course, you gotta refrain from now what opens up your gates from that. But what will Yah do when you got a lust problem and you asking Yah to help you overcome lust? You're going to get the most beautiful women walking by you like, hey, Kaziel. Hey, Teddy. or sisters, the most handsomest guy. You're like, what's up, sugar? How you doing? Just testing you. I'm just giving you an example. I'm not trying to go to, we got children on the board. I'm giving the cleanest example yet. Hey. Right? So we know how that works. So you ask, you got sticky hands. You like to steal or whatever. What's Yah gonna do? He gonna put you in the toy store, like kids, right? He gonna put you in the toy store. You ask Yah to get over your covetousness. He gonna put you around everybody that got something that you want. You ask Yah to help you be more grateful. He gonna take everything you got and see if you thank him. So that's how he's testing you, so you can purify your heart. But if you don't recognize how Yah works, when you get in those situations, you'll blame everybody around you instead of seeing that it's you. You be like, the devil. No, it's not the devil. It's you. It's you. All right. What's the seventh temptation? 32. Exodus 32, starting from verse 1. When the people saw that Moses delayed to come down from the mountain, the people gathered themselves together to Aaron and said unto him, come, make us go Come, make us go Elohim, which shall go before us. Make us an God. That's what it is. Sorry. Make us an Elohim that will go before us. For this Moshe, the man who brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we do not know what has become of him. So y'all ever heard that when the prophet is gone, the people act up? That's like 100% true. when a prophet or a leader is gone and be like, I'll be back, right? I've taught y'all what y'all should do. Y'all gonna act up. Groups act up when the leader's gone. They just run amok. Because we like wild children. Y'all be like, I know I taught y'all well. Y'all been good. I trust y'all. But every single last one of y'all know the situation with your children, right? You done taught them well. They are perfectly behaved in front of you. You'll be like, my child is good, right? But we've seen the test, right? They've done all the tests. When you leave them in the room and they got the camera, the all-seeing eye right there, right? And you tell them, well, I'm gone. Y'all behave now. You be like, yes, we're going to behave, right? And as soon as that door closed, you see the first one looking around like this. Let's do it, y'all. Let's do it. That's how y'all act. And all you gotta do is just wait a little while. Wait a little while when they start to believe that you're not coming back. Watch them act up. Watch them act up. Just about all the children are going to act up. You might get 1 out of 10 and be like, we shouldn't do that. But then you're going to see the 9 bully the 10 and be like, listen. Right? You're going to see how the word works, how the masses draw everybody in and bully the one, right? Peer pressure. Who said y'all not going through the same thing? We come together as a group, and let's say there was a leader or Moshe, and he went away from 40 days and be like, I'll be back. Y'all know the rules. Y'all Negroes would act up as soon as the prophet is gone. Because y'all act right, could be like, the prophet sees everything. He got eyes behind his head. Y'all show him everything. I wouldn't do that in front of the prophet. He'll know. But as soon as you think nobody's looking, you really don't believe that Yah's there. That's what it is. Forget the prophet. You don't believe that Yah sees when you act up. And it's the same thing with children. Because you got to teach your children to fear you, but fear Yah. And even if I, as your mother, don't see what's going on, Yah sees it. And he's going to uncover it. You're not getting away with anything. Right? So when the prophet is gone, the people act up. That's what we got here, right? All the people, now they already heard the voice of Yah. What is the problem? So I ask you, if you, at this point, are you one of those? You heard the voice of Yah. It wasn't Moshe. You told Yah, whatever Moshe said, I'll do. He went to go get the commandments and disappeared and be like, he gone, y'all. Let's just have a party. Right? So here's another thing. Aaron said to them, take off the golden earrings, which are in your ears of your wives and your sons and your daughters, to bring them to me. All the people took off the golden rings which were in their ears and brought them to Aaron. He received what they handed him and fashioned it with an engraving tool and made it a molten calf. And they said, these are your Elohim. Now, they made one calf. This is something that I'm going to teach when I get to this, what they call the Star of Molech, that they're calling the Shield of David. I'm going to say it very clearly again. The 6-pointed, two-dimensional geometrical shape that you see called the Shield of David is not the Star of Molech. So I'm not going to go too deep in it, but they build a calf, one calf. But there was something else concerning that calf, that they had made that now the representation of Yahweh, right? They weren't worshiping Baal. They said, we're worshiping Yah. So this was representing Yah. But it says, these are your Elohim, plural. What was it that was plural? Can anybody tell me what? It wasn't just the bull. It was something else. And that image is known to antiquities, that Yah says, this is the tabernacle that you bought, the Star of Molech. Anybody know? What was the sign? What was on the bull's head? What's the image of the bull? It wasn't just a cow by itself.
It was like some type of ring.
Yeah, it was the horn. It was the horn and a circle in the middle. That's the Star of Molech. it represents the constellations of the sun and moon and stars as a unity, as they were trying to relate to something to explain Yah's triunity. They were using a constellation of stars to represent Yah's unity, to say that that's him. And the bull always carried that at the time, and you'll see that image throughout antiquity. It's not the six-pointed star. It's the crescent moon and the sun shield. That is the star of Molech. And it's not one star, it's a constellation as well. So anyway, when Aaron saw this, he built an altar before it, and Aaron made a proclamation and said, tomorrow we shall feast to Yahweh. This is another example. So we, as we see our so-called awakening brothers and sisters create their own, as they come out of Christianity, right? And don't do Thanksgiving and don't do Christmas and Easter and all of that anymore. We've come out of the Christian church only to what? Create these feast days that look just like the church and like the world. Craziness. And it's nothing but a big orgy. It's a party. And so we got Hebrew Israelites that's doing church, screaming and hollering and organ playing and jumping up and boo boo hot, you know, with a mix of the club, the church, and the rave all in one in these feast days, right? And calling it, we feasting to Yah. This what we doing right here is exactly what we did right here. Feasting to Yah, saying that we're worshiping Yah. And no, we're not. No, we're not. This is not a feast to Yah, what these people are doing all over the internet. That's not how we feasted to Yah, right? They rose up early on the next day and offered burnt offerings and brought peace offerings. And the people sat down to eat and to drink and rose up to play. That's what we do on feast days, just eating and drinking and playing and dancing and screaming and hollering and reveling hard, right? 7, Yahweh spoke to Moshe, said, get down, for your people who you brought up out of the land of Egypt have corrupted themselves. So what they did was they feasted. They said it was to Yah, but it wasn't. There was an image there that they sacrificed to, and their hearts was far away from Yah. Then Joshua heard the noise of the people as they shouted. He said to Moshe, there is a noise of war in the camp. He said, it isn't the voice of those who shout for victory. Neither is it the voice of those that cry for being overcome, but the noise of those who sing that I hear. So they were singing and dancing. There is a time for praising Yah. There is, but there is a difference. The way holy people praise Yah, and we are commanded to praise Yah the way Yah told us to praise him, and not mimic what we got out the church, what we got out the club, what we got out the hip hop joint, the R&B joint, or any other religion. The way they worship Yah is not the way we should not take that and bring it to Yah. And that's what we're doing. And so we've corrupted ourselves in this. And where was I? 19. It happened as soon as they came near to the camp that he saw the calf and the dancing. And Moshe's anger grew hot. And he threw the tables out of his hand and broke them beneath the mountain. He took the calf which they had made and burnt it with fire, ground it to powder, and scattered it on the water, and made the children of Israel drink it. I saw a hand go up. Was there a hand? Okay, so now you see Yah also now taking this corruption, that they made out of gold, burning this gold. Why? Because there was a spirit now put on that calf of the people. The people's hearts was connected to that gold. He had to burn it up, chop it up, make it into powder, and he made them drink it. Why? You see the connection with the water all the time. When he made them drink it, it was that he was cursing them. He was cursing them. When Moshe saw the people let loose or unrestrained, and some people say the word orgy, it wasn't necessarily that they just like took off their clothes and was just sexing, but the word is let loose, unrestrained, meaning they had nobody to put them in order or in check. And that's what our people want. Well, Aaron had let them loose for a derision, for a derision or a whisper among their enemies. And so basically, when I'm gonna tell you right now, if we didn't have the white man, as y'all call it, as a restraining system for us in Babylon to keep us from breaking the laws of Yah, what would Negroes be doing right now? We are so angry at the authority of the system that we in, but y'all know good and well that if these rebellious Negroes who say they love Yah and worship Yah in spirit and truth got out in the wilderness with no authority, it would be all hell. It would be murder, death, kill, all in the wilderness between us. It would be rape. It would be child molestation to the max. I mean, we would have gang rape and gang murder all up and down Israel, or for any and everything with these Negroes. Straight up, stoning people left and right because they offended you. You know, it would be messed up to be underneath the control of any of these Negroes without no control. And so when I tell you again that it's not going to be no rebels in the wilderness this time, I know people believe that Yah's going to deal with, no, he's not going to put Moshe and Aaron and Elijah through this again. They did their job the first time. He's given us the story. We're not going to get in the wilderness and rebel this time again. It's not happening. You're going to get it before you get in the wilderness. Because we're worse than we was in Egypt right now. We wouldn't even made it this far before we just start killing each other and raping and stealing and whatever. We are more wickeder than we was in Egypt before. We didn't behave like that in Egypt. But the way we behave now, even amongst the so-called awakened ones, is so wicked, y'all. I don't want to be like the thought of going into the wilderness with these rebellious Negroes, the so-called awakened Negroes, scares me half to death. I don't want, and when y'all showed me it's not going to be like that, I was like, praise Yah. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Yah. Thank you, Yah. I'd rather face the beasts than to face y'all. In the wilderness. Right? I see a hand raised.
I was going to say, even to some of the ones with hatred for other races,
As well.
Imagining what that would look like without any authority or control.
As well, with the mixed multitude and all of that, totally. We got the light skin, dark skin thing going on. Like light skin over there, dark skin over here. Your mother's the Canaanite, your father's dividing us up like that. Yeah, I mean, totally. So where we at? So the seventh temptation was, again, disobedience and complete idol worship. Straight up idol worship. And so all of this in one way or another is a breaking of the commandments. Idolatry is adultery. This was a profaning of Yah's name. Where was I? Okay. All right. So what was the eighth temptation? Numbers 11, verse 1. The people were complaining in the ears of Yahweh. When Yahweh heard it, his anger was kindled, and Yahweh's fire burnt among them and consumed some of the outskirts of the camp. The people cried to Moshe, and Moshe prayed to Yahweh, and the fire abated. The name of that place was called Taberah, because Yahweh's fire burnt among them. So they got straight up stricken by fire. Where do you think that this fire came from? I'm gonna put some reality to this. Where do you think that this fire came from? Because it's gonna be in the wilderness again. It's just not gonna burn us. And this actually happens in the wilderness now, when earthquakes happen, because that is a land that is soiled with oil and gases underneath it. And so the fire comes out of the cracks of the earth and explosions and stuff like that. Now, I'm not diminishing Yah's power. I'm saying it is Yah. I'm not saying science over Yah. I'm saying it is Yah. The mixed multitude that was among them lusted exceedingly And the children of Israel also wept again and said, who will give us flesh to eat? We remember the fish which we ate in Egypt for nothing, the cucumber. So it wasn't, when he says eat, it wasn't just eating meat, it was everything that they complained about. It was the cucumbers and the melons and the leeks and the onions and the garlic. But we have lost our appetite. There is nothing at all except this manna to look at. How many of y'all will eat spaghetti for a week and not be satisfied? And so spaghetti got meat, leeks and onions and garlic and a whole lot of other stuff in it, right? Spaghetti is the bomb, right? But how many of y'all would be upset with spaghetti for 3 days? Much less manna for heaven. So they lost their appetite. Yah was doing this on purpose. He's trying to bring them back to the perfect will of Yah. Take them back to the Garden of Eden where they didn't have an appetite. He was trying to remove the craving of food altogether from them, right? How many of y'all will complain? I already know, because I already know how many of y'all would complain if I gave y'all spaghetti for breakfast. I'm getting on some of y'all. I ain't mentioning them days. All of y'all failed. All of y'all failed. But y'all had like the best meal ever, you know. I mean, y'all go wait till we go through unleavened bread. You know, it's matzo ball this, it's matzo that, matzo this, and matzo that, matzo pizza, matzo peanut butter and jelly, matzo soup. How many of y'all can complain for 7 days, eat some matzo this and matzo that? Let's see. You know. So 10, Moses heard the people weeping throughout their families, every man at the door of his tent, and the anger of Yahweh was kindled greatly. And so this people, they were just in their house complaining. They like y'all, like we do, like humans, just complaining in your own house and thinking you got a right to be like, man, you know, man, I'm sick of eating this stuff. Just that simple, right? Moshe said to Yahweh, why have you treated me with your servants, treated your servant so badly? Why haven't I found favor in your sight that you lay the burden of all these people on me? Have I conceived all these people? Have I brought them forth that you should tell me, carry them in your bosom as a nurse carries a nursing infant to the land which you swore to their fathers? Where could I get meat to give all these people? For they weep to me, saying, give us meat that we may eat. I am not able to bear all these people alone because it is too heavy for me. If you treat me this way, please kill me right now. If I found favor in your sight, and don't let me see my wretchedness. Now this was serious. Like Moshe is not just saying this. He means it. Just imagine what he went through with all of y'all, with what, almost millions of us coming out of Egypt, carrying one person with that kind of responsibility. I can't imagine, but I'm tired already. And trust me, I go through it daily while I'm like, I don't want this. I don't want this. The group is like 30 people now. I don't know what to do if this group gets any bigger. This is a lot of responsibility. I don't want this. I'm telling him, please give me help. I need help. I don't want to be the leader. I know that might be hard for some people to believe, but it's true. It's actually true. 33, while the flesh was yet between, so we know what happened. He brought quail again, right? But he brought it in overabundance. Let me tell you what that looked like right now. I need some fried chicken. That is Negroes complaining for fried chicken. I need some chicken. Go ahead and take y'all in the wilderness and y'all don't have no chicken. See what happens. Well, some of y'all vegetarians like, I can handle it. But it wasn't just chicken. Y'all ain't had no onions and leeks and garlic and cucumbers and melons. Take away the leeks and the cucumber, y'all gonna complain the same way, right? It ain't just about meat. It was about food altogether. Why would y'all do this? Why does he need to take away your appetite and strip you of food to get to the heart of the matter with you? Because the kingdom is not in eating and drinking and food. and it has nothing. The kingdom has nothing to do with food, y'all. Nothing. That's not the fruits in the garden. Where was I? And I says, and Yahweh, so we know what happened. He brought a lot of quail, so they couldn't even eat it all. Y'all ever ate so much fried chicken? Like we know we get this thing for fried chicken. Even I do. I might eat fried chicken twice or 3 times a year, right? And I got this thing where I just need the hot. I just put hot sauce on top, right? Just fried chicken and hot sauce, like drip. You know, I got a craving for chicken and some fried chicken and hot sauce. But then y'all ever experience like eating it like two days in a row or 3 days? Y'all feel sick. Y'all be like, ugh. I done lusted myself out of the chicken. I don't want to eat chicken for another week. Imagine like just eating straight up, just like whatever they was doing with the quail for 1 month straight. That it was all, I mean, coming out their nose and stuff like that. They couldn't even digest it. You know, that's what that looked like. That's what that looked like. So it says the name of the place was called, so he struck them with a very great plague. Now, I can't tell you what the plague was. I really don't know what the plague was. You know, I don't know if anyone has any guesses or assumptions. You know, he said that it was coming out their eyes and their nose and stuff. So I don't know. I really don't know what the plague was. The name of that place was called Kibroth Hata'ava because
Well, it could have been constipation.
It could have been. It
Because
could
if
have
it
been
can't go out,
constipation.
they got to go somewhere else.
Yeah, it could have been constipation. Like that. That might constipate you. You know, that's something to look into. I'll ask y'all, but hopefully we know it's not going to happen again. How about that? It's not going to happen again. It might have just been something that the birds was carrying that it wasn't that the birds were unclean, but to over consume it like that, probably our bodies might not could have handled it. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. The name of that place was called Kibroth Hata'ava because they buried the people who lusted. So whatever this thing was, it killed. It could have been food poisoning. I don't know. Now here's another thought. As I'm reading it right now, they didn't have refrigerators. Meat goes bad really quick, but he slew a load of it. Perhaps some of them were able to jerky it or dry it with salt, or perhaps they tried to find a way to preserve it and it was poisoned, trying to eat it or hold on to it for a month. Perhaps there was a food poisoning. Perhaps the meat got unclean after a couple of days and they weren't able to preserve it. I really don't know. That sounds like a viable option. I'm guessing, but it sounds like a viable option to have meat held that long and no refrigeration. No refrigeration.
Have meat held that long and no refrigeration, but also these people who are beyond greedy just still eating it.
Just still eating it. They fried it up, put some
That's
hot sauce on it,
kind of
right? It still tastes good, right? Tastes like chicken.
Yeah, I can really imagine, because if you go for so long, you're gonna be
Yep.
scared that it ain't gonna come back. So therefore, you're gonna go ahead and eat as much as you can
Yep.
consume, and
Yep.
don't care if it's.
35. From Kibroth Hatava, the people traveled to Hazeroth, and they stayed in Hazeroth. So that was the 8th and 9th temptation together, back to back. They were just simply complaining about everything. And the 9th one is that at that point they complained just a lusty appetite for everything. It wasn't just meat, but they were very ungrateful. It was all of it. The cucumbers, it was everything. They wanted that lust, and we all have that lusty appetite. I'm gonna tell you that we all do, whether it be for vegetables, like, girl, I gotta get my greens on today, or I gotta get my chicken on to my fried chicken, whatever your lust is, it was all of it. He tested us all in it. And so what was the final temptation that Yah said enough? Let's see, Numbers 13, verse 1. Yahweh spoke to Moshe saying, send men that they may spy out the land of Canaan, which I gave to the children of Israel. Of every tribe of their fathers, you shall send a man, every one of a prince amongst them. They returned from, I'm skipping down to 25. They returned from spying out the land at the end of 40 years. Y'all know the story. And I'm skipping to 29 now. Amalek dwells in the land of the south, and the Hittite and the Jebusite and the Amorite dwell in the hill country, and the Canaanite dwells by the sea and along by the side of the Jordan. I'm skipping down to 30. I'm not going to read the whole story. Caleb still, so we know what happened. They came back with an evil report. Caleb stilled the people before Moshe and said, let us go up at once and possess it, for we are able to overcome it. But the men who went up with him said, we are not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we. Shows you right there that they had no faith in Yah. When Yah said go, right? They brought us an evil report from the land, which they had spied out to the children of Israel, saying, the land through which we have gone to spy it out is a land that eats up its inhabitants, and all the people who we saw are in it are men of great stature. There we saw the Nephilim and the sons of Anak, who came of the Nephilim, and we were in our sights as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight. Numbers 14, verse 1. And all the congregation lifted up their voice and cried, and the people wept that night. They cried all night. All the children of Israel murmured against Moshe and against Aaron. And the whole congregation said to them, would that we have died in the land of Egypt, or would that we have died in the wilderness. Why does Yahweh bring us to this land to fall by the sword? Our wives and our little ones will be a prey. Wouldn't it be better for us to return into Egypt? They said one to another, let us make a captain and let us return into Egypt. When they did that, it was done. Because they were actually ready to go back to Egypt, period. And they actually was going to do it. And when they did that, they stopped Yah from going before them. Their complete lack of faith, ingratitude, lack of fear and respect for all that Yah had done up until this point stopped Yah from being able to bring them salvation in the land. 5. Then Moshe and Aaron fell on their faces before all the assembly of the congregation of the children of Israel. They knew once they said this, it was done. Joshua the son of Nun and Caleb the son of Jephunneh, who were those of who spied out the land, tore their clothes. And they spoke to all the congregation of the children of Israel, saying, the land which we passed through to spy it out is an exceedingly good land. If Yahweh delights in us, then he will bring us into the land and give it to us, a land which flows with milk and honey. Only don't rebel against Yahweh, neither fear the people of the land. And that's exactly what we're going through right now. It's almost like a reverse situation. That's exactly what's going on now. We got people spying out the land, coming back with an evil report, saying that the people are bigger and greater than us. And so we can't do this. When Yah said, come out. And this is rebellion. All of those that don't want to come out because they are comfortable where they are in Egypt, they would actually do that. They would just be like, let's go back to America. Even with all the crying out, you're going to see in an upcoming year or two, the whole land of Israel, black people crying out, talking about save us from the cruelness of America, which we cry out every time something happens. But yet, they don't want to leave. Take away chicken and see what happens. They'll take the murder over the fried chicken. Take away water for a couple of days. They'll deal with the murder over a lack of water for a few days. Take away the comfort of their homes and their jobs and their idols and their cars and their phones. They will keep that and take the murder that we keep complaining for. So it says, only don't rebel against Yahweh, neither fear. So this was complete rebellion. The people of the land, for they are bred for us. Their defense is removed from over them, and Yahweh is with us. Don't fear them. But all the congregation threatened to stone them with stones. So we see it with point. This was an all or nothing now. It was a done deal. just based on a rumor. The glory of Yahweh appeared in the tent of the meeting of the children of Israel. So the 10th temptation was complete rebellion, and no fear of Yah at all. All of this was Yah testing them to try to purify their hearts so he could know what's really going on with them. And so I'm telling you again, that we all stand here and be like, I love Yah. I love him. All he got to do is tell me and I'm going to do it. And guess what? You could still be lying. You swear that you really believe what you're saying and your intent is pure and true. With all good intentions, you believe what you're saying. It's your truth. You think it's your truth until he puts you through a test to see what's really in your heart. And so Yah knows all things, but he still got to let you play it out so that you can prove yourself to him the way he's got to prove himself to you. The results. Even after the 10, did I get a hand? Okay. Even after the 10, we continued in our rebellion. We didn't even learn from that. We just continued on. Numbers 14:11, Yahweh said to Moses, how long will this people despise me? And how long will they not believe in me? For all the signs which I have worked among them, I will strike them with the pestilence and disinherit them, and will make you a nation greater and mightier than they. I'm going to pause this for a second because all of a sudden, all right.
My son said, yeah, we all can eat this.
We can all eat this. This is baby lesson. These are the lessons that we're supposed to be trying to teach our children before they get grown, so they don't treat Yah like this. On Numbers 14, I'm in 13. Moses says to Yahweh, then the Egyptians will hear of it. So we know now that, like, you know that Yah could have killed all of Israel because the promise wasn't to the 12 tribes yet, right? You know that, right? It just started all over with Moses, and he would have kept his promise. Y'all know that, right? Because the promise was the promise of Abraham and Isaac. The promise wasn't an individual promise to each tribe yet. And so when Yah said, I will destroy all of them and make a great nation of you, Yah wasn't playing. But yet we walk around like Yah couldn't and wouldn't do it again or attempt to do it again. But yet, that's why he's saying we in such rebellion, right? For those 10 things, I'm telling you that we're doing worse than that while in Egypt, right? While we got chicken, onions, leeks, water, we got everything, right? Even some of y'all got guns that think that you're gonna fight against the man, but you're still ungrateful. You still don't Shema. You still don't keep the Shabbat. You got refrigerators to keep your meat for 30 days, right? Right? You got everything that Yah took away from you, and all of y'all still have a lack of fear. I mean, a lack of fear of Yah, a lack of faith in Yah, a lack of gratitude, a lack of love, a lack of obedience. Like, we're all of that now without even Yah testing us. Without even Yah testing us. So now he say, I'm going to leave a remnant though. I'm going to leave a remnant. But yet our people don't believe it. That remnant is a very small remnant of us. Because most of us is just straight up wicked. And when this wickedness, this evil heart is not about just being a murderer or a thief or a railer or all of that. It's just simply being ungrateful, unloving, and unfearful of Yah. No faith in him. Because he didn't just say the murderers and adulterers and the covetous and the idolaters are not going to make it in. He started off with saying the cowards, the fearful, the unbelievers is not also going to make it in either. So Moshe said to Yahweh, then the Egyptians will hear of it, for you brought up this people in your might from among them, and they will tell it to the inhabitants of the land. They have heard that you, Yahweh, are in the midst of the people. For you, Yahweh, are seen face to face, and your cloud stands over them, and you go before them in a pillar of a cloud by day, and a pillar of a fire by night. Now, if you kill these people as one man, as one man, meaning all together at one time. So Moshe was haggling with Yah, you know, was like reasoning with Yah. Y'all, we can reason with Yah. Like I said, that's a great example. Like Moshe could reason with Yah. How much more a woman with her husband? I'm just throwing that in there. That was just another but we can reason with Yah. Reasonable, righteous reason, right? Because Yahweh was not able to bring this people into the land which he swore to them. Therefore, he has slain them in the wilderness. And so Moshe was appealing to Yah that if you do this, then your name, because everything is for his name's sake, his name would be defiled amongst the nations. And it wouldn't be about the people, it would be about Yah. Now, I'm at 17. Now, please let the power of Yah be great, according as you have spoken, saying, Yahweh is slow to anger and abundant in loving kindness, forgiving iniquity and disobedience, and that will by no means clear the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers on the children, on the third and on the fourth generation, right? So what Yah is saying here, that he's slow to anger, he's abundant in loving kindness, forgiving iniquity and disobedience, right? And that by no means he clears you of your guilt. So this is a concept that I've tried to teach y'all, that the Christians and Hebrew Christians have brought in, and you bringing that into this, thinking that once you repent, once you ask Yah for forgiveness, that's it. That you free, the sins is covered with the blood of Yahushua, and you don't have to pay no price. And that you're not going to get a punishment for things that we did 20 years ago, because I don't do that. No, that's not true. Yah is not he's not clearing you altogether, right? But he's giving you time to repent, right? Visiting the iniquity. So he's going to continue to visit these iniquities if you're not in complete repentance on your children to the third and fourth generation. And I believe that it says to those that continue to hate him, meaning follow in your path. So this is to all you children on the board. You know, as we're teaching you the word of Yah, and your parents are teaching you the word of Yah, listen to the word of Yah and don't repeat what your parents are doing. Y'all hear me, children? If you know that your parents are breaking the commandments of Yah, don't you get old enough and say, well, mom did it. Dad did it. You better do what Yah said to do. Right? Because their sins are going to pass on to you if you repeat their wickedness. Meaning the punishment as well is going to visit you. Please pardon the iniquity of this people according to the greatness of your loving kindness, and according as you have forgiven this people from Egypt unto now. And so Yah was like patient with us the whole time. Patient with us the whole time. I'm in 20. Yah said, I have pardoned according to your word, but in very deed, as I live, as all the earth shall be filled with the glory of Yahweh, because all these men who have seen my glory and my signs, which I worked in Egypt and in the wilderness, yet have tempted me these 10 times, and have not listened to my voice. Surely they shall not see the land which I swore to their fathers, neither shall any of those who despise me see it. But my servant Caleb, because he had another spirit within him, and he has followed me fully. So we're supposed to follow Messiah fully wherever he goes. Are we ready to follow fully? Are we half-stepping on the stone? Him will I bring into the land in which he went, and his seed shall possess it. I'm skipping down to 26. Yahweh spoke to Moshe and Aaron, saying, how long shall I bear with this evil congregation? So all that what took place, the murmuring, the complaining, the ingratitude, the disobedience was evil. That murmur against me, murmuring against Yah in your life about what you don't have is evil. Listen to me, y'all. It's evil. I have heard the murmuring of the children of Israel, which they murmur against me. Tell them, as I live, says Yahweh, surely as you have spoken in my ears, so I will do so will I do to you. Your dead body shall fall in the wilderness, and all who were numbered of you, according to the whole number, from 20 years old and upward, who have murmured against me, surely you shall not come into the land concerning which I swore that I would make you dwell therein, except Caleb the son of Jephunneh and Joshua the son of Nun. Now, this is our first inception of understanding what a child is to an adult. You are not an adult at 18 and a half or 19 and a half. And you are not grown at 14 through 17. You know nothing. You are still underneath your parents' authority and rule, and parents are responsible for how your children behave all the way up until 20 years old. After 20, they are grown and totally responsible for their behavior. So as we're grown now, look at our behavior from 20 years old. Man, we was wicked. So like I said, you don't let your children go. You do everything you can to keep them correct with Yah. Everything that Yah's commanded you to do to keep your children correct with Yah. Because that's a commandment for parents. That's a commandment. He said, you shall drive the word of Yah in your children. Teach them in the morning, noon, and night. They get sick of, we got to do Torah again. Man, all we going to do is talk and say commandments. No, he said, talk about it in the morning, in the noon, in the night, all day long. Teach the Torah to your children. Why? Because they are an open mind that is sucking everything up. Their brains are still connecting, and they're learning from every experience and non-experience. There are words being spoken to them quietly. Their mind is thinking, and Satan is wrapped up in the heart of a child. All a child knows is what it wants, and you got to teach these simple principles that he was trying to teach us like a child, so that they may know the way of Yah all their days. Because if you don't teach it to them 24/7, the world is going to teach your children. There is no time and space that your children's not learning something. Even if you think they sitting there bored, they're learning something when they're even neglected. There's a lesson being learned in neglecting your children. And so if it's not neglection, then you're going to put Satan, the TV and the videos and everything else that they shouldn't be watching. There is a lesson in every TV and every show. There is a lesson being taught to them. They're learning something every day in life. And so therefore you got to counteract that, because their minds is just like sponges soaking up everything. They're watching adults, and like children are watching adults. They're so smart and slick. They're watching all our movements. They summon us up. They figuring us out. They becoming slick and sneaky. They are learning. They're watching us. They sit back and laugh at us and be like, look at them. Just learning everything. Right, children? Right? They think that we stupid. Y'all know that, right? Y'all know that the children think we dumb, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They think that they are so smart that we don't know their tricks. We play dumb with them because y'all be lazy, neglecting, and tired. And so they think y'all dumb. They think they're so smart, and they think that they are doing stuff that we ain't done before. Like we don't know how they think, because they get away with it sometimes, right?
Even toddlers already do that.
Oh yeah. At 1 year old, they know. Them little sneaky eyed babies. You know, they walk around the house like this. They be like, you see it all in their face. The devil is talking. And so listen, children, Yah said there's nothing but foolishness wrapped up in the heart of a child. Don't lie to yourself about kids. That's Satan's playground. Foolishness wrapped up in the heart of a child. That's why you got to teach them the way they should go. If you leave kids by themselves, you got wild animals. Kids cannot raise themselves. All they know is that I want to eat, drink, poop, smack, and have fun. Whatever. But they want what they want. You know? I'm trying to keep it clean, y'all. I'm trying to keep it clean. So we gotta teach children. Don't just because they cute, and smile in your faces. No, 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 no. They all got a little seed of Satan in them. All of them. And if you don't water them with the word of Yah, then they are being watered from Satan. And so don't fool yourself about your cute babies. Don't fool yourself. Yes.
I just want to say, if everybody could just remember themselves, put yourself back in you as a child. What did you experience? What did you look at and examine adults at your age as a child? Always remember that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So I want to tell all y'all children, your parents are not dumb. They just might be tired and lazy, but they ain't dumb. Y'all not getting away with nothing. Trust me. And even if you think that you're getting away with it with them, Yah sees it. You're not getting away with nothing, because the sins of the parent is going to pass on to you. And when you get old enough to get your spanking from the world, as I showed you in the lesson before, that Yah says, I'll deal with your children with the authorities of the world. If you won't, you're going to get it from the world. Life is going to kick your butt. That's why parents, when you've done everything that you can do to chastise and discipline and teach your children the way to go, and they still in complete rebellion as children, kick them out. Give them over to Satan, because that's what they are. And maybe the world can spank their butts and they come back home like this. Ma, I want to come back home. I'm ready to keep the rules of the house, right? Y'all know how it goes. It's the classic. It's not new history. It's not new history. Somehow we just think we're going to raise them different. Our kids is just a little better than the next generation. No, they're not. These kids, I'm talking to all y'all kids right now, as y'all are in the world that exposed to 10, 20, 100 times fold information than we were growing up, and you're exposed to much more wickedness than we was growing up. Y'all are more wicked than us. Little kids, Yah said in the days they will become wiser and wickeder, because they are exposed to a lot of information and knowledge. They know a lot, but they're still children, and they cannot comprehend right and wrong. They still cannot, how do I say, reason the consequences of their behavior. They haven't lived long enough to understand what it is that they think that they know. But that much knowledge, they know more than us, makes them wickeder than us. Do y'all understand that? So we gotta be on the children tent, like Yah said, all day, all night. Keep the commandments, because when if you do get to a point when you gotta let them go. When you get to that point, and they are out there in the world, it's just them and Yah. But how does Yah speak? They gonna hear the voice of Yah coming out the clouds? Or it's that quiet voice of your mother that was instilled in them when they go out? Because I remember when my father first let me go at 21, and I was free, right? I was like, I'm free now, I'm grown. And it took me all but a year to go out there and commit every sin that listen, y'all, all but 1 year, I was out there warring and wilding and partying and drinking and drugging and doing every evil. And you know how they teach your children, gotta let your children have some fun, because when you let them go, it's like letting them out the cage. They're gonna be more wicked. Stop that. Stop. Right? No, that's not it. That's the way the devil trying to treat you to raise your children now. You gotta let them get out. No, not. But when I got out, I still had a little fear. Like, it took me a year. I was like, I can't do that. My father, right? But he was a million miles away. Once I realized I got smart, that he's not coming back, and I'm totally on my own, right? And that there's nothing he can do to me from a million miles away, right? Once I removed the fear of my father, the fear of Yah did not come in place. And so we are commanded not just for your children to fear you, but you got to teach them to fear Yah through you. Because when you're not there to spank their butts any longer, you got to let Yah do it. They got to know that Yah's going to get them. And they're not going to get away with bad behavior in the world. They're not going to get out there and drink and drug and and party and sex, and nothing is going to happen to them. So you better put the fear of Yah in those kids and the fear of you. We are not set here to be our children's friends. They will love you later when they get grown themselves, right? They will love you later. So where am I? All right, let's keep going. I saw some hands. Was there any hands? I thought I saw some
Yeah, they
statements.
I had a hand up.
Go ahead, speak, Jasmine.
But I was just saying, yes, you are talking to me because I struggle with mine a lot. I mean, it's just, they are a handful. And I try to teach them, so, but it's a lot. It is a lot.
So we got a couple with Brady Bunches. We got 3 and more.
Yeah.
What are the ages of your children now again?
3, 7, and 13.
3, 7, and 13.
It's a
Listen,
lot.
do you believe in discipline?
I do.
Like spank butt?
But spank. I'd have no problem spanking.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm just saying, everything you said was good. I need to hear that.
Well, as long as you
May I
spank
say
butt and then
no.
teach them the word of Yah. Hey,
Yes.
listen. Now let me listen. Some of y'all just might got devils. You got to figure that out.
Oh yeah. Now look, if you got that problem, like you said, I don't know what you can do about it.
I mean, if you've
just
done
pray.
everything according to Yah, and they still like just wicked little children, you got devil. The devil got them.
Yeah. So is there any help or hope, or are you just kind of out?
Well, I have to send them to me first in the wilderness.
Oh, okay.
I've already said, listen, y'all. If the time comes and y'all can't go, y'all better send kids here. Give them to me. I will take all your kids for one holy day. Y'all can stay in Babylon. Y'all do Babylon. Send me your kids for one holy day. They send them to me. I know y'all don't believe me. I'm straight up. We going into the wilderness.
Yeah.
May I say something?
But I fold up. You gonna be put in the suitcase. and I win every time. I don't believe in losing. I'll win every argument and every battle and every fight. Because they'll try you. They'll vomit. They'll have a tantrum. They'll make themselves sick. They'll throw up and gag and choke, and they'll have to kill themselves just to win. So you'll give in, like you killing them, and they killing themselves. Yes, they will. They will try you to the utmost to get their way with you, to win. And if you let them win, you done. You don't let them win. You don't let them win, y'all. Don't let them win. I know they wear you out, but you gotta win.
No, I appreciate that. Goodness gracious.
All right, I get on the kids all day. Listen, I'll have them all disciplined. I won't put one hand on them, I promise. Okay, so let's continue. 31. But your little ones that you said should be a prey, them will I bring in, and they shall know the land which you have rejected. But as for you, your dead body shall fall in the wilderness. Your children shall be wanderers in the wilderness 40 years, and shall bear your prostitution. So now we see that even though the children were innocent, they still had to pay the price. They still had to bear our punishment for 40 years, right? Until your dead bodies were consumed in the wilderness. After the number of the days in which you spied out the land, even 40 days for every day a year, you will bear your iniquities. Excuse me. Every 40 years, and you will know my alienation. So Yah, he abandoned them, right? I, Yahweh, have spoken. Surely this will I do to all the evil congregation who are gathered together against me. In this wilderness they shall be consumed, and there they shall die. Moshe told these words to all the congregation of Israel, and the people mourned greatly. But even that, they still didn't repent. They still didn't change. These Negroes, look, okay, with the results. That was the results. But we Negroes, us Negroes, right? Still, even after all of that, Negroes, that's my word, continued in our rebellion. Even I spelt that like that on purpose. That's right. That's right. Okay. I'm not apologizing for Negroes because they keep growing in their Negroism, right? They just get stronger, Negroes. Man, these Negroes got stronger in their rebellion, even after Yah's judgment. You know, Numbers 14 and 40. They rose up early in the morning and went up to the top of the mountain, saying, "Behold, we now." Yah said, Yah said, okay, so they stopped Yah. They had no faith. They was in complete rebellion. By the time they did that, Yah was no longer there. And so this is also going into the conception that you could change once Yah come and present his truth to you, right? And put you through his test. You could play around with Yah, right? And be like, next year. And they'll be like, all right, I might come back next year. All right, y'all, I'm ready. No. I'm gonna tell you right now that Yahushua didn't do it. You're not gonna see where when Yahweh brought his truth to you, right? Through either his servants or his prophets or Yahushua, that when the truth, the whole truth was brought to you, that they got to decide next year and repent later. Once Yah brought it to you, you had to choose right then and there. Right then and there. And so that's still something that we still play around with, saying we hear the word of Yah today, but I'm going to change maybe next month, right? And maybe next year. I had some people come and be like, I know you probably teaching was right, but I'm really not ready for it now because they stubborn. I might come back to you a year. I might regret this a year later. I might come back to you a year later. I was like, yeah, you try that. That's a no. That's a no. Y'all came to you last year. You could tell me I might come back next year when I'm ready. And people do that. Be like, well, I'm not ready. I said, no. That's not how it works. If Yah brought his truth to you, then that was you. You better be ready. You don't get to be like, all right, I changed my mind. No, it's too late. How many children do that with their parents, right? Play around their parents, right? And they keep playing to change their mind. Be like, all right, I'll take the Oreo instead of the the Twix. All right. Be like, no, it's too late. You know, stomped around the candy store and was acting ungrateful and like you couldn't get your way. So now you're not getting nothing. So that exists with children, that exists with us, and that exists with Yah. That when Yah said, I called, you didn't come, bye. Aaron? Are you swatting flies?
Accident. I'm sorry. It's an accident.
Oh, okay. I thought you were swatting flies.
No.
All right. So where was I? They rose up early in the morning. They went up to the top of the mountain. So Yah said, I'm not with them any longer. After Yah had already reasoned with them, they messed up. It was done. His judgment was set. They didn't die yet or anything like that, but the judgment was set. And so now these Negroes was like, all right, y'all, all right. After he gave his judgment, now they're going to change their mind. No, children do that with parents. Parents, don't let your children do that with you. That's a lesson that they're learning that they can play with you. They won't fear you if you do that. If you give your children judgments after they misbehave, and then you let them barter with you, you're sending them a message. They playing with you. They be like, yeah, they dumb. So watch what I do next time. Don't let your children do that with you. Yah don't let us do it with him. Right? So they rose up early in the morning and went up to the top of the mountain, saying, behold, we are here, and we'll go up to the place where Yahweh has promised, right? For we have sinned. Right? So they trying to repent now, right? Moses said, why now do you disobey the commandment? So now Yah said, don't go. Now they're going to revert it. No. We're going to do what Yah first said. No, Yah said, don't go now. So now they're disobeying Yah again, right? Since it shall not prosper. So Yah said, I'm not with them. I'm not with you. When you disobey Yah, Yah's not with you. And that's what I'm trying to tell these people that's speaking so boldly about not coming out. It is it's a commandment of Yah, right? It's a commandment of Yah to come out. I'm not saying that you have to come out as soon as you hear it, but you have to set your works in your mind and your heart towards doing what Yah has said in faith. That may take time. So he's judging the heart. But those that have a wicked heart and said, I'm not, they're in complete disobedience with Yah in their hearts and their minds about the whole matter. And so Yah's not with them. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. All of these people that love Babylon and refuse of the thought of coming out, Yah is not with them. He's going to smite them all. Right? So it's 42. Don't go up, for Yahweh isn't among you, that you be not struck down before your enemies. For there the Amalekites and the Canaanites are before you, and you shall fall by the sword, because you are turned back from following Yahweh. Therefore Yahweh will not be with you. But they presumed to go up to the top of the mountain. Nevertheless, the ark of the covenant of Yahweh and Moshe didn't depart out of the camp. Then the Amalekites came down, and the Canaanites who lived in the mountain, and struck them and beat them down, even to Hermon. So they lost. And that's what's going to happen in this first battle. Yah is not with us. He said, don't fight. I'm not with you. Y'all are still, all of y'all that's trying to fight against the man in Babylon, he's not with you, because he didn't tell you to fight. He said, leave, so you can fight another day. Yah is not with us. We're in disobedience. Number 16. So I'm going to show you more rebellion that we had. Even after all of that, Yah's judgment was set. 40 years in the wilderness, we were going to wonder. We were going to die out. That's what it was, y'all. We stopped Yah, but we didn't stop there. We just continued on. We was like, oh, well, we're here now. We just going to do what we want for 40 years. We just going to keep going like this. Now Korah, the son of Izhar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, with Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and On, and the son of Pelet, sons of Reuben, took men, and they rose up before Moshe with certain of the children of Israel, 250 princes of the congregation, called to the assembly men of renown, our leaders. And they assembled themselves together against Moses and against Aaron, and said to them, you take too much on yourself, since all the congregation are holy. Every one of them, and Yahweh is among them. So this is what's also going on with us now, right? You got leaders and people, it's like, we're all holy, so why are you the one in charge? Why do I have to listen? Because the Holy Spirit is with me too, and we're all holy, and Yah's with me, right? But I keep saying that even if Yah is with you, and even if you do have the Holy Spirit, he never disannulled order. And when Yah has proven in your life, without a doubt, that he sent someone to you, you saying to them, well, I'm holy too, is not correct approach to Yah's messengers or his order. Because if he sent a leader or a messenger or a prophet or a priest or anything of rank to you, there's something you're still missing. They're there to lead you and guide you on some path, somewhere in your path that you're still lacking somewhere. Regardless if you think you're holy or not, you're still learning, right? And so they thought that they were holy too, and every one of them, Yah was among them. And when and why did lift yourselves up above the assembly of Yahweh, right? When Moses heard it, he fell on his face. Because they knew what he was, man, Moshe was like, oh man, y'all done messed up again. Don't do this, y'all, right? And not knowing that Moses didn't even want that position. Did he want that position? No, nobody knew that Moshe went in the back mountains and cried and said, please kill me now, y'all. I don't want to do this. Please. They don't know that. But to them, he was arrogant. When Moses heard it, he fell on his face, and he spoke to Korah and all of his company, saying, in the morning Yahweh will show who are his and who is holy, and will cause him to come near to him. Even him whom he shall choose, he will cause to come near to him. do this. Take censers, Korah and all his company, and put fire in them and put incense on them before Yahweh tomorrow. And it shall be that the man whom Yahweh chooses shall be holy. You have gone too far, you sons of Levi. So this first challenge was between the sons of Levi, between the leadership, not the people, the leadership. And so I believe that you had asked a question one time before, Clarence, about what do you think the strange fire was? Now, this is not that situation, but I believe that after reading it and looking and asking y'all for the answer, that he's given me some clarification on what it was. This is a clue to it, and we might read it if it's enough time before this is over for you to see what the answer is, right? And so this was the sons of Korah. They were the ones that was the keepers or the dressers of the temple, of the temple and the showbread and the candle and all of that, right? All of the utensils of the temple and the tabernacle. Their job was to keep the temple. Their job was not to give incense and pray and go into the holies or into the holies of holies, right? So these are separate compartments that you have to be chosen by Yah to do, right? And holy and saints set aside by Yah to do, right? And so these sons of Levi thought that they were holy too, right? Because they were Levi, they were priests, and they brought their own temple, and so they wanted a bigger response. They wanted to do the big thing. They wasn't appreciative of the role they had, right? And so they wanted to go in there and burn incense stand in front of Yah, right? They wanted more power. They wanted to get closer to Yah than anybody else. And so they're challenging Moshe and Aaron of their status with Yah and how close they can approach Yah, saying that we're holy too, right? And so Moshe is like, y'all have gone too far. Y'all have gone too far. So we're going to listen. All right, you think you holy enough to approach Yah like this? Get your senses. Let's see what happens, right? Korah's rebellion, and I'm at 11. Therefore, you and all your company are gathered together against Yahweh. So they thought that they were doing something for Yahweh. They thought that they was being pious and holy for Yahweh, but they were doing something against Yahweh. And Aaron, what is he that you murmur against him? So what did they want here? What was the issue in this situation with Korah's rebellion? They wanted to be high. Aaron's job was to do what? To go into the holies of holies and offer up incense. But there was a requirement. Aaron was set aside in a certain requirement for him to do that. So these Negroes thought that they was that holy to go into the holies of holies. I'm in Numbers 16 and 2. Moshe sent to call Dathan, Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and they said, we won't come up. We won't come up. Is it a small thing that you have brought us up out of the land flowing with milk and is it a small thing that you have brought us up out of the land flowing with milk and honey to kill us in the wilderness? So now they being rebellious. They trying to call up all Aaron's and Moshe's mistakes from the past, right? Not mistakes, but they want to call it up anyway. But you must also make yourself a prince over us. Moreover, you haven't brought us into the land flowing with milk and honey, nor given us inheritance of fields and vineyards. Will you put out the eyes of these men? We won't come up. 15. Moshe was very angry and said to Yahweh, don't respect their offering. So now Moshe was doing all this praying, but they went too far now. They made Moshe angry this time. Moshe got angry, y'all. And he told Yah, don't accept their offering now. All right. I have not taken one donkey from them. And so this was utter disrespect. Like what they said right here to Moses was utter disrespect to him. Like Moses, when they said that to Moses, they hurt his heart. They hurt him. He's like, all that I've done, how dare you say that to me? That hurt Moses. I see a hand raised.
Yeah, that's me. I was just looking at the scripture. We're on verse 13 where it says, is it a small thing that you have brought us up out of the land flowing with milk and honey? How they thought that Egypt was what Yah promised us. And our
Mhm.
people do that, like you said, they do that today. They think that this land is, it's a comfortable place.
Right.
And that they're slowly killing our people in this
Mhm.
in this so-called comfortable land flowing with their milk and honey. That's all. I just
Yep.
thought that
Yeah.
was,
They was calling the other land milk and honey, the Egypt that they just came out of,
yeah.
right? And
That's
kill
just
us in the wilderness,
despising God. Yeah.
right? So y'all's judgment had already
Yeah.
said all of y'all gonna die in the wilderness. So they mad now. They just in complete rebellion. They won't even accept. They won't even repent, right? But you must also take on yourself princes over us. So now, so we see in 15, what they said to Moses. Moses was very hurtful because you can see his response that they cut him. They cut him, right? Moses was very angry now. At every point up to this point, Moses was like, oh no, please don't do this. He's pleading with Yah over them. But this time they cut Moses. He was like, Moses was angry and said, don't respect their offering. And Moses is saying, I have not taken one donkey from them, neither have I hurt one of them, meaning I have not even put my hands on y'all. What are y'all talking about? I haven't done anything to y'all. Moses said to Korah, you and all your company go before Yahweh, you and they and Aaron tomorrow, and each man take his censer and put incense on them, and each man bring before Yahweh his censer, 250 censers, you also, and Aaron, each his censer. They each took his censer and put fire in them, and laid incense thereon, and stood at the door of the tent of the meeting with Moshe and Aaron. Korah assembled all the congregation against them at the door of the tent of the meeting tent, and the glory of Yahweh appeared to all the congregation. I'm in 20. Yahweh spoke to Moshe and to Aaron, saying, separate yourselves from among this congregation, that I may consume them in a moment. They fell on their faces and said, the Elohe of the spirits of all flesh. Shall one man sin, and will you be angry with all the congregation? So this is also another scenario where one man's sin could affect the whole congregation. The whole congregation. Because that rebellion is still in the hearts of the people. If they see one get away with it, then it's gonna spread like wildfire. It's like if you got a bunch of kids, I'm used to kids, and the oldest one get away with something, right? The other ones is looking and be like, oh, they got away with it. Oh snap, it's on now, and all of the other kids are gonna follow suit. They're gonna follow suit. They're gonna sit back and wait to see if the older one get away with it. He got the cookies. Oh snap! Come on, y'all. Let's get cookies too, right? Numbers 20. The children of Israel, even the whole congregation, came into the wilderness of Zin in the first month, and the people stayed in Kadesh, and Miriam died there and was buried there. People say that this is the same scenario from the waters of Meribah, but I'm not really sure. I would have to look them up to see if these are two different scenarios. Maybe somebody can shed more light on it right now, but my mind right now could not ponder if it's the same scenario. I don't think it is, based upon the timeline. But this is when Miriam died, and so there was no water for the congregation, and they assembled themselves together against Moses and against Aaron. The people strove with Moses and spoke, saying, we wish that we had died when our brothers died before Yahweh. We wish that we had died when our brothers died before Yahweh. Why have you brought the assembly of Yahweh into the wilderness, that we should die there, and we and our animals? Why have you made us to come up out of Egypt to bring us into this evil place? Is it no place? There's no seed, no figs, no vines, no pomegranates, neither is there any water to drink. So you can see that we was complaining about this the whole time. I'm skipping down to 8. Take the rod and assemble the congregation, you and Aaron your brother, and speak to the rock before their eyes, that it gives forth its water, and you shall bring forth to them water out of the rock. You shall give the congregation their livestock to drink. Moshe took the rod from before Yahweh as he commanded him. Moshe and Aaron gathered the assembly together before the rock, and he said to them, hear now, you rebels, shall we bring you water out of the rock for you? Moshe lifted up his hand and struck the rock with his rod twice, and water came forth abundantly, and the congregation drank and their livestock. So we know that Yah had told him to speak to the rock, but Moshe was angry and he struck the rock. Moshe was still Moshe. He did not lose his authority or his power over y'all, but he made a mistake. And that mistake didn't cost him his soul, but it cost him his life and not getting into the land of Israel physically. That one mistake as a leader. And so that's one of these things that we gotta, as leaders, that's no joke. Like, that's no joke about our complete obedience to Yah, you know. And so I'm gonna tell you that y'all as followers or shepherds need to be careful how you keep trying your leaders, putting them in a situation to see if you can get them not to tell you what thus says Yah. Do y'all understand what I'm trying to say right now? This is not the same kind of situation, but what I'm saying is that to continue to strive with your leaders, and test them like you test a parent, and come to them with stuff and play with their conversation, haggle with them so that they can tell you something that you want to hear. When you kind of already come to them knowing what they're supposed to say, and you continue to test them, make them angry, wear them out like a parent so it doesn't discipline you, right? Y'all know that scenario, right? That children consciously will wear you out on purpose, knowing that you're gonna get tired. You might not, like, out of 10 beatings, they might only get 8. You know that they'll do that, right? They will wear you out, hoping they could just get away one time. And I'm telling y'all that y'all as adult children do the same thing to leaders. Y'all, you will keep coming with a different scenario and wear them out, hoping that they get tired of chastising you, and they'll tell you something different. Don't do that to your leaders. Don't do that to me either. Don't do that to me. Don't do it, because that's also my soul. I've already told you that leaders have to answer just like a parent, right? For everything we say or don't say to you. You come at us with these frivolous, can I do, can I not do, and trying to strain a different commandment out of them and haggle with them over what thus says Yah. You playing. So we do that. We try to wear out the leaders so that they won't discipline you, right? They get tired of chastising you, right? And they do. Y'all know it. Be like, oh, she just screamed at me yesterday and the day before that and the day. I bet you she gonna talk next day. Ooh, I hear an echo. Okay. So
sorry, can you say that again? I bet they're gonna what?
I forgot what I said. What I just say?
You said mom was
what I just
yelling
say?
at me the other day, but I bet this time she's gonna.
No, I'm saying that you keep trying, right? So you keep coming and coming with the same issue, right? And they'll give you the same word or the same chastisement or the same rebuke or the same admonishment, or even if it's in kindness, but you're not satisfied. You're not satisfied with that. You want a different answer from them, but they are commanded to give you what thus says Yah, but you will wear them out, right? By keep coming back with almost like the same scenario, thinking and hoping that they get tired of saying the same thing, so they might say something different. You may not be totally conscious of it, but yet you are. Because there's a way that we behave in a subconscious and unconscious matter, because the heart really leads you, not necessarily your mind. Can y'all understand that? So be careful with that. You know, if y'all keep coming to me with the same issue, just to look a little different and think that y'all know I'm tired. Y'all know I'm tired and think you're going to get a different answer out of me. You know, be careful with that, because our lives and our souls are at stake too with every answer we give you. And so y'all, and we mean all the time. Y'all be like, man, they like narcissistic, right? Right? You want to call us narcissists? Stop coming to us then. If you don't want to answer from Yah, which is usually correction from how you're thinking, then stop. Don't ask of Yah, because He's gonna require it of you. You know. So just to let you know, even if you got some wicked leaders, they're not getting away with anything. If you think that I'm fake, I'm false, I'm lying, I'm not telling the truth, I'm not giving you proper judgment, If you really believe that, trust me, I'm not getting away with nothing. So where was I? Moses took the rod before Yah and commanded him. So Moses struck the rock, and so he disobeyed Yah in this commandment, and it cost Moses his life and getting into the physical land of the kingdom. Yahweh said to Moses and Aaron, because you didn't believe in me to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel, therefore you shall not bring this assembly into the land which I have given them. That was a big punishment for Moshe. 80 years old, Yah called him out at 40 years of going through all what he went through with y'all. I mean, he was 120, 80 to 120. And all of his, even from 20 on, Yah was using his whole life for this day. And to do all of this, 40 years with y'all and not be able to cross over is painful. It's painful. That his whole life work, he didn't even get to enjoy one fruit of it. You know, where was I? 13, these are the waters of Meribah, because the children of Israel strove with Yahweh, and he was sanctified in them. Numbers 21 and 4, they traveled from Mount Hor by the way of the Red Sea to compass the land of Edom, and the soul of the people was much discouraged because of the way. The people spoke against Elohim and against Moshe. Why have you brought us up out of Egypt to die in the wilderness? They kept saying this all the time. For there is no bread and there is no water, and our soul loathes this light bread. So Yah had fed them manna from heaven, and they despised it. They didn't like it. Yahweh sent fiery serpents among the people, and they bit the people, and many people of Israel died. So they got bit by poisonous snakes in the wilderness, right? The people came to Moshe and said, we have sinned because we have spoken against Yahweh and against you. Pray to Yahweh that he take away the serpents from us. Moshe prayed for the people, and Yahweh said to Moshe, make a fiery serpent and set it on the standard, and it shall happen that everyone who is bitten when he sees it shall live. Moshe made a serpent of brass and set it on the standard, and it happened that if a serpent had bitten any man, when he looked to the serpent of brass, he lived. That's the whole lesson by itself about the brazen serpent. What we know that it represented Yehoshua. In essence, it was plan B to plan A, as a representation of what you have to do to look up towards Yehoshua. So he said, the day that you lift up Yehoshua and look up to him, the way you looked up to the brazen serpent is the day that you will receive your eternal life, you know. And so that's a whole nother lesson with the brazen serpent represented. I'm telling you, it's taking you back to the Garden of Eden, the serpent versus Yehoshua. That's a whole nother thing. Why did it have healing powers? What was the brass about the serpent? All of that, another scenario. So now I'm in Numbers 25. So I'm taking you through all our rebellion, right? All of our wickedness. Numbers 25 and 1. Israel stayed in Shittim, and the people began to play the prostitute with the daughters of Moab. For they called the people to the sacrifices of their Els, and the people ate and bowed down to their Elohim. Israel joined himself to Baal Peor, and the anger of Yahweh was kindled against Israel. Yahweh said to Moshe, take all the chiefs of the people and hang them up to Yahweh before the sun, that the fierce anger of Yahweh may turn away from Israel. Moshe said to the judges of Israel, everyone kill his men who have joined themselves to Baal Peor. So obviously this was some feast day, some party, some orgy, where they all was like, oh, look at the women, right? It wasn't Israel's women, it was other women. And obviously this women had something. I don't know if they had gonorrhea, herpes. They had something that was floating around that whole nation between the women that our brothers caught messing around with them. And y'all said kill them, because all y'all was gonna do is bring that right back to us. And so y'all got in the wilderness, and I'm saying y'all, when I say y'all, I mean these brothers here, right? And hoard themselves with other women. And our brothers are doing that right now. Our brothers and sisters are doing that right now. But our brothers are the propagators of this behavior. And I'm gonna prove it in Torah that Yah says, no, if your women are whores, it's because you play the whore. Yah clearly says, that if your wives are committing adultery and your daughters are whoring, it's because you did it. Our brothers don't like to read those scriptures that y'all said, no, it starts with you. They learn from you. So that's what happened here. And so young men, young sons, single men, grown men, no whoring around, right? This is fornication to the max. It wasn't just the women, but we wasn't supposed to be whoring around anyway. These men, look what happened. One just thought he was gonna marry him. He was like, I'm gonna make it holy, right? You think, listen, a lot of these marriages are not in Torah. And so a lot of our brothers get in messed up marriages, right? Or sisters. And they can't see, how do I say, that it was never righteous from the beginning. It was never Yah's intent. And they think because the love that you might have for each other, that is holy now. No, it's not. That's not what makes a marriage holy, because y'all love each other. Behold, one of the children of Israel came and brought to his brother a Midianite woman in the sight of Moses and in the sight of all the congregation and the children of Israel, while they were weeping at the door of the tent of the meeting. When Pinas, the son of Eleazar, and I have to tell you, listen, I know this is a sensitive topic, because as we have new people on the board, we have, we're going to talk about it one day, to be frank about it, because if we're going to move forward as a family, we do got to come to some clear understanding. We weren't supposed to. We were always supposed to remain slaves. We still are. I don't care what you say. You're still a slave. Even with all your money, your big house, your cars, and your bidet, toilets, and all of that. You're still slaves. So Yah did it to humble you, and I'm telling you that he's trying to humble you now. He's not going to wait to get you in the wilderness. Though we're going to go through this, you'll be ready, right? To prove you, to test you, to see if you mean with that, like all of y'all, I love Yah. I love Yah. I fear Yah. Let's see, right? To know what was in your heart. That was the issue. Because what's in your heart is going to manifest when you come against trials and tribulations in life. When someone has money in their pocket and they're doing well in life, they can love Yah all day long. You ain't going to never see them not love Yah when life is good. Let life get a little bad, and it's going to tell you what's in their heart. It's the same in any relationship with a marriage, right? So you're to marry a rich man, right? And you be like, I love my husband. He treat me so good. I got everything I need. Let him get broke, right? Let him get broke and see how much you love him, right? So that's a test that I always tell all our men you need to do with young ladies, right? In the system that you're in, you know, stop spoiling them and giving you got to show them that you can provide for them, but you don't spoil them and give them everything they want. You gotta take them to McDonald's, not McDonald's, but I'm saying take them somewhere cheap one day and see how they act. If they be like, no, he didn't just bring me to a $5 meal. No, he didn't. Who he think he is, right? Or, okay, let's say like this. She like expensive. You've been taking her and whining her and dining her to show you got it like that, right? You to prove. Take her to the same restaurant she loved and be like, oh, my credit card is, and see if she willing to pay. After you to pay, see how she behaves when your credit card is not working. Be like, and see if she call her girlfriends and be like, no, he didn't. He brought me to the restaurant. He didn't even have no money on his credit card. I had to pay it. Can you believe that? I had to pay for my dinner and his, right? So now I'm giving you the most ghettoest situation, but you know that's true, right? Y'all know sisters do that, right? Brothers, right? Right? These hood rat women be like, no, he didn't take me to McDonald's, right? But I'm just on any kind of level. You got to test the women, right? You got to prove them, and you got to test men, right? Test them. Like, how do you find out if your man is that kind of man that when he get angry at you, he gonna go sleep with another woman? Right? Pick a fight. Just act up one day, not before your man. Just like pick a fight and argue, and see how he acts. See if he gonna go run to another woman behind your back, just because he mad with you. or see if he's one that's willing to sit down and reason with you, duke it out with you in the conversation. Because how y'all start is how it's gonna be when you get into marriage. If he just run and be like, I'll be back in 3 days and disappear type, or he gonna sit there and talk to you. And so y'all, as our husband, had to prove first himself. He did that. He didn't ask us to prove ourselves to him first. He proved himself to us first. And in return, he said, now prove that you love me. Prove it to me. Such as it in a marriage, right? So he says, first to humble you, to prove you to know what's in your heart, if you truly love me, whether you would keep his commandments or not. He humbled you and allowed you to hunger, to feed with you with manna, which you didn't know, neither did your fathers know, that he might make you know that man does not live by bread alone, but everything that proceeds out of the mouth of Yahweh does man live. Your clothing didn't grow old on you, neither did your foot swell. So he's like, y'all didn't even get arthritis for 40 years walking in the wilderness. I can't even imagine walking from here to Elat, much less 40 years in the wilderness, because my knees won't take me up the hill right now, y'all. Y'all know that, right? Like the thought of going into the wilderness with a backpack and all of that is a little scary for my knees right now. And some of y'all feel the same way. When y'all think about that, like, are we really 1 year, much less 40 years? But he was like, your foot didn't swell. Meaning I didn't even give y'all arthritis. Right? These 40 years you shall consider in your heart that as a man chastens his son, so Yahweh Elohim chastens you. It was a chastisement. You shall keep the commandments of Yahweh your Elohim, to walk in his ways and to fear him. For Yahweh your Elohim brings you into a good land, a land of brooks of water, of springs and underground water flowing into the valleys and hills, a land of wheat and barley and vines and fig trees and pomegranates, and a land of oil trees and honey, a land in which you shall eat bread without scarceness. You shall not lack anything in it, a land whose stones are iron, and out of whose hills you may dig copper. You shall eat and be full, and you shall bless Yahweh your Elohim for the good land which he has given you. 11, beware, lest you forget Yahweh your Elohim in not keeping his commandments and his ordinances and his statutes, which I command you this day. Lest when you have eaten and are full and are built goodly houses and live therein, and when your herds and flocks multiply, and your silver and your gold is multiplied, and all that you have multiplied, then your heart be lifted up, and you forget Yahweh your Elohim, who brought you forth out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. And even though this is an opposite scenario, this is where we are right now in our mentality. Y'all have been lifted up in your hearts because y'all have eaten bread in full. You have gotten meat in full. You have gotten your houses. You gotten your cars. You gotten your herd. That's what a herd is. That's your cars and your house. That's your houses, your horses. Your flocks have multiplied. That's your children, your kids, right? Your silver and your gold. You got some money. Not all of us, but some of y'all, right? But as a whole, we have lifted up above slavery in the land that we wasn't supposed to be multiplied in, and that you have multiplied. Your heart is lifted up, and our people in Babylon have forgotten Yahweh because they think that they did it, that their power and their might and their good works in serving the man has gotten them these riches. And therefore, Yah says these people that don't want to come out the land, they are wicked against the covenant, because there's only one place that Yah said he's going to establish this with us. This promise that we'll be multiplied with gold and silver and flocks and herds and goodly things. He never intended that to happen to us anywhere outside of his promised land. He said, I'm in 15, who led you through the great and terrible wilderness, in which were fiery serpents and scorpions, and thirsty ground where there was no water, who brought you forth water out of the rock of flint, who fed you in the wilderness with manna, which your fathers didn't know, that he might humble you and that he might prove you, to do you good at the latter end. Listen to this. What's the latter end? It's the last days. That's us in the wilderness now. So, do we have to experience this to learn by it? This is why Yah tells us to teach us, our children, and teach it and read this year by year, because this is our learning lesson not to repeat it. Yah's not going to allow us to repeat this because we got it right here. We got a lesson that we're supposed to learn from our parents, not to repeat this. And this lesson of hunger and thirst and gratitude and faithfulness and lack and fear of Yah is going to do us good in the latter end. So all the little tests that you think you're going through now, take it. Take it. Unless you say in your heart, my power and the might of my hand has gotten me this wealth. And that's how we thinking now. That's how we think in this world. But you shall remember Yahweh your Elohim, for it is he who gives you power to get wealth. So at any time, no matter what's going on with you, whether it's wealth or not, wealth or welfare, right? It don't even matter which one it is. You need to be grateful and thank Yah that he gave you life to even get up to receive it. That he may establish his covenant with you, which he swore with your fathers, as at this day. It shall be if you shall forget Yahweh your Elohim and walk after other Elohim and serve them, because in order to get rich like this, and it's not according to Yah's word and promise in his commandments, then you are worshiping idols and working for them. It's one or the other, right? I testify against you this day that you shall surely perish. As the nations that Yahweh makes to perish before you, so you shall perish, because you wouldn't listen to the voice of Yahweh your Elohim. Okay, so I'm finishing up with a few more songs just to seal it up right now. Psalm 78:14. In the daytime, he also led them with a cloud, and all night with a light of fire. So when I told you, when we did the lesson on covetousness, that lesson of Yah's commandments was about showing you that Yah is there to provide your every need. And that if you have what you need, you should be grateful for all things, right? And that's what he's there for. So if we're in the wilderness, what do you need? What does a man need for basic survival in the wilderness?
Food, water, shade.
Food,
Instinct.
water, and what?
Instinct.
Instinct?
Mhm.
No. You got the clothes in your back, right? You need, if you're in the wilderness, you need shade from the heat,
food, water, shade,
fire from the cold, because it gets cold in the wilderness at night, fire and light, water, and food.
And
That's
chia
all
seeds.
you need. And what? What's the I say?
I said and chia seeds.
And chia seeds. I think y'all get the joke, right? Y'all know who said that, right? Chia seeds. that was Hulda. That's what she said we're gonna do.
What do you mean by you have the clothes on your back? I'm confused on that one.
Well, I've never seen a naked man ever in my life unless he took his clothes off. Even the homeless aren't naked. You know that, right?
No, because the question was, what do you need to survive in the wilderness, right? So I was thinking we're not going to be naked, so we need clothing, water, food, shelter. That's it, right?
Outside of a newborn baby, I've never seen a naked man unless he took off his clothes. So, like I said, even homeless people got clothes. You got Africans that don't like clothes. That's different. They do got leaves, though. You know, so that's a choice. If you don't have something to put on your body, that's a choice. Go get some fig leaves. You know, it's just cover yourself. There's no reason why we should be naked. None at all, right? In the daytime, he also led them with a cloud, and night with light of fire. So he gave us shade, heat, and he gave us heat and light in the darkness and in the cold. He split the rock in the wilderness and gave them drink abundantly as out of the depths. So he gave us water. He brought streams out of the rock and caused waters to run down and these were pure waters, mind you. You know that, like, that water coming from underneath the earth, through the streams, underneath the rocks, coming back up is like purified water. Yet they still went on to sin against him and rebelled against the Most High in the desert. They tempted Elohim in their hearts by asking food according to their desires. So we talked about this covetousness. It really like when you boil down covetousness, it comes down to the simple desire for food and one of the things that you don't need, right? The excess amount. Yes, they spoke against Elohim. They said, can Elohim prepare a table in the wilderness? And so this is my question for y'all now. What's your biggest fear about the wilderness? Can Yah prepare a table for us in the wilderness? And I'm saying, yes, he can. That's our biggest fear.
I have a question. I have a question.
Huh?
I have a question. So I've heard you a few times say that you have a backpack ready, and I'm all for preparing for the wilderness. But if you like, for me, I have the mindset that if like Yah says to go, like I'm just gonna pick up and go. And like, what if you don't have a backpack? What if like a situation arises where you just have the clothes on your back and you just go?
For most of us, that's what it's gonna look like. Because
at that time, the Father should be your backpack.
Yeah, at that point,
time,
you're just gonna have to rely on the cloud
very real.
and the one pair of sandals you got, because those are the ones that didn't prepare though. Yahushua said, when that time comes, the sign that we're supposed to run into the hills of Judea, right? Those of the Judea flee. He said, don't go in the house and pack a bag. Like, you should have had your bag packed already. So I'm teaching y'all this. At Passover, have a backpack. Act like you might be going somewhere that night. And I practice this with all 3 holy days. To act like we're going somewhere. Practice, right? Like you're going somewhere. Have your bag, have your bag packed at all times. Ready to leave. Now, if like that's the minimum preparation that you can do. Like, do it. You know, and so they didn't leave, even though they had to rush out in haste. Yeah, they had goats and sheep, and y'all know they had stuff, right? They had a lot of stuff. He didn't allow them to kill their goats and sheep and herds. Right now, it's going to be a little different this time, because Yah did say he's going to feed us manna, but he also said that we would have our goats and herds and sheep, that we would feed off of them. So we're going to, as he said, he was going to provide for us in the wilderness, but we still have to go through some tests to prove ourselves. I see another raised hand. Who's that?
Do you think there will, and I know I've heard you address this before, but I just wanted to get clarification. Do you think there'll be a mass exodus from here to there? And like, because I was just wondering how, well, let me just ask that question. And then, you think there'll ever be a mass exodus from here?
Yeah, it's gonna be a mass exodus, but y'all not gonna see it and understand it. America's a big country. Y'all are all not leaving on the same plane. I do believe that when trouble comes, that each country will send planes and perhaps ships. I don't know about ships, planes, to rescue their people before the time comes, to say, I will repatriate anyone that can, through their ancestry, that thinks they're Italian, German. Yah has already told the nations they're going to go back to their own nations.
Right.
But he's also said that Israel is going to wind up being scattered. We're in a scattered state. So that when the nations is going to be anarchy. So it's not just going to be Israel. It's going to be anarchy and martial law and race war, right? And civil war going on in the land, on top of the persecution that's happening to us. So our scenario is going to be lost in the mix. You understand what I'm saying? So we are leaving out within the 3.5 years, we're not leaving altogether. We are leaving one here, one there, two here, and we're still in a scattered state. Y'all said after we come out, we're in a scattered state. I don't believe, well, I know ain't no ships or Tarships coming from Black people, right? And I don't believe,
Right.
now this is what I don't believe, but it still could happen. Even if it happens this way, Ghana, Nigeria, may send a plane to come get a bunch of you Negroes. But that's a trap.
Right.
That's a trap. And so you see all of these
Right.
people now doing what? Trying to convince y'all to go to back to Africa. Even Watch Me Report, as she's flipping around with her, why? Because now they know that they can't hide the fact that there's gonna be an exodus, right? It's out the bag now. So they are playing with it right now. And instead of telling you to go where Yah told you, which is clearly the wilderness, or return to the land, you get Deborah Watchman now talking about getting your own passports to Africa. If you choose to go to Africa, you got all these people that's sending you to Ghana in particular. Even Damona here is doing a backtrack and sending everybody back to Ghana, out of this land. This is a trap. We already know that Trump already made a financial deal with Ghana to pay them for every Black person that they repatriate back. What do you think that's about? It's just trapping us.
Right.
It's just misdirecting us. So if they've already showed that most of those countries in Africa, China is watching all immigration. They know where you're going. There is going to be no mass movement of Black people, right? Nowhere that they don't know where we are massing unless we hide it until we get to a place where you hide your passports and stuff like that. But China got front door access to all immigration in Africa. And so they know who you are and how many of y'all are gathering in what country.
Yeah.
They know it. And so that's a trap. And all of these people that's pushing you, like you see all these superstars now talking about this back to Africa stuff. This is because that is propaganda to get us to sway us to the wrong direction. Everywhere where y'all didn't tell us to go. But most of us will flee through Africa, and a lot of us are going to die trying to flee through Africa. Did I answer that question?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Tzibiyah.
So listen, I got like a couple of more scriptures left. Can y'all hold the question? We'll do a question. All right, hold it. Let me finish this out. Y'all can feel this coming down to the end. All right, so where was I? They tempted Elohim in their heart by asking for food according to their desire. Yes, they spoke against Elohim. They said, can Elohim prepare a table in the wilderness? I'm here to tell you that it can. That's the real faith that we're going to have to walk by that time. And do we have it? I say no, not now one of us. Behold, he struck the rock so the waters gushed out and streams overflow. Can he give bread also? Will he provide flesh for his people? This is a question for us now, again. 21, therefore Yahweh heard and was angry. A fire was kindled against Yaakov. Anger also went up against Israel because they didn't believe in Elohim and didn't trust in his salvation. Yet he commanded the skies above and opened the doors of heaven. He rained down manna on them to eat and gave them food from the sky. Man ate the bread of angels. He sent them food to the full. Now, this manna from heaven, it didn't just poof out the sky. It did come from above their heads, but we're not going to go into that, right? What that was, but it was bland to them. It tasted like a wafer with no flavor, right? Like almost like smack, like you know how honey smacks is, but it's not like without the honey on it.
Rice cakes.
Like a rice cake, yes. Yeah, it's like eating rice cakes just with no sugar, no milk, no cinnamon or nothing, right? Like I said, if you had to eat that every day, your children would complain, right? Much more you. But why he calls it the food of angels? It came, I believe this with all my heart. Excuse me, y'all, I got skin on my lips somewhere. I believe the testimony of this, even though it came by the research of these white scholars, and I know y'all seen it, but they took this part out, and I thought that was interesting because they republished it on the YouTube, but they took that part out, and it was like Exodus decoded. Y'all remember Exodus decoded trying to prove all the miracles how y'all worked it. I believe that he what he discovered, most of it was the true story. It was a true explanation of how y'all did it. When it came down to the manna of heaven, they found out that it was a specific tree that was in the wilderness that every night the beetles in the wilderness would tap on and open up, and it would pour out its sap, and because it's cold at night, it would freeze like a honey wafer and fall on the floor. And that's what they were collecting all over the wilderness, right? And so they still have this thing, right? And when they showed it, it melts in the once the sun come up. That's why y'all was like, you gotta gather it, you gotta eat it day by day, and don't. And so on the Shabbat, he kept it cool that it wouldn't melt, a double portion. But if it melt, why? Because this was also the food of worms and stuff like that. It was honey from the tree. All the you ever put a drop of honey on the floor and see how many ants and bugs and beetles and stuff will swarm to it, because that's the energy source for them too. So basically, the seed, it was cold in the morning. Once the sun came up, it would melt, and it not that it spoiled, it began to stink because all the animals would try to get to it, basically, and lay nest their eggs and their worms and everything to feast off of this honey, this kind of coriander thing, this sap that came out the tree. Now it came from above our heads, and we didn't see where it came from, right? How did it come out the tree? That these things, and it was an interesting thing how they showed how it just pours out the tree like that when these beetles tap on it. And I truly, totally believe that that's what it was. But why did he call it food, bread of the angels? Can anybody just like take a stab at it? Why did y'all want to feed us this thing and really nothing else?
All right, I'll try it.
Go for it.
I feel as though because already he's trying to in the wilderness. I think the wilderness was already a thing that was meant to rid us of things we grown as man to be very comfortable with that we never was intended to have in the first place. So with the food of the angel being I kind of also believe that too by being a bland thing, and also knowing that human beings are going to actually grow tired of eating something bland almost every day, for the simple fact that it was something that was also meant to rid us of like I don't know, like a certain
I get what you're trying to say. And I'm gonna
yeah, I
say
can't find the words.
to remove our lustful appetite of food, our craving, our covetousness for food, right? So yes, he was trying to remove that because he really wanted to bring us back into the kingdom. But no, that's not exactly what I'm asking. So y'all wanted to feed us this manna, huh? Go ahead.
Does it have anything to do with like honey is some form of energy for us? Like
you're getting there.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
So one of the things that I had told y'all, if you ever like run, the best things to take for survival is a jar of honey and some peanut butter. One for protein and the other one just for complete sugar. Your mind, you feed your brain. When you eat, your body is trying to get the sugars first. 60% of your brain is taking the sugar, or 60% of the sugar that's coming from the food. The brain is nourishing first, and then the body second. That's what the body needs for pure energy. That's why y'all calls it like the land of milk and honey. So it was food of angels because first of all, it was something that could be totally used by the body. There's no poop-de-doo.
What about purity?
Well, that's what I'm
What
saying.
about purity?
It was pure. That's what I'm saying. There was nothing to
Have bowel movements behind.
yes. All right. Don't y'all get tired of using the bathroom? Wiping your behind. There was no tissue in the wilderness. I'm trying to tell you, first of all, angels don't poop. Angels
Could it be?
Huh?
I was gonna say, could it be also that, you know, Adam and Eve, that was the food that Adam and Eve was given to sustain them in Eden? You know, was they given food of the angels to eat? And kind of reminding you.
Well, the promise of the land of milk and honey, when he talks about the flowers, I guess we'll have to wait and get to the kingdom of heaven if it was just really honey, or honey in the mind, you know, sugar in the mind, like y'all on your like, can I get some sugar today, Yahushua? Did it tell you to kiss the sun? Right? So we're just gonna have to wait to get to the kingdom to see if his kiss is enough, or we just need some honey. But but food and the angels, in the sense that yes, it was pure, it was purified. There's no waste in it. Pure honey from the tree, and there was no waste. There was no waste. There was, so we would have, that time in the wilderness, we would have gone without needing to use the bathroom, y'all. You know, which is also something about the human beast nature that is actually displeasing to Yah and displeasing to us after a couple of days of not taking a bath, right? So we had this conversation with Shabir. It was like something about the animals, and I was like, no, we stink more than animals. I was like, no, mankind stinks. Go ahead and don't take a bath for a month like a dog and see who smells worse, the dog or you. Y'all got it backwards. Right? Y'all, we are like beasts, right? Because of all the excrements that's coming out of, you know, the food, all of it, you know. And so he was trying to purify us so many ways. And nobody wants to be in the wilderness with no tissue. You know, come on now. I'm trying to put some reality to the situation. So anyway, let me finish this up. He caused the east wind to blow in the sky. By his power, he guided the south wind. He rained also flesh on them at the dust, winged birds as the sand of the sea. He let them fall in the midst of their camp around their habitations. So they ate and they were filled. He gave them their own desire. They didn't turn from their cravings. Their food was yet in their mouths. So we live like that today. What did they call it? Live to eat to live, right? So we live to eat. We don't eat to live, right? When the anger, and so like I said, y'all act like y'all gonna die if y'all don't get the carrot sometimes, you know. So when we get out there and there's no garlic and leeks and all of that stuff to like season the food, let's see, you know, who's going to be satisfied. Then the anger of Elohim went up against them, killed some of the fattest of them, and struck down the young men of Israel. For all this, they still sinned and didn't believe in his wondrous works. Therefore, he consumed their days in vanity. It was all vanity, and their years in terror. When he killed them, then they inquired after him. So after he killed a lot of us in the wilderness, then we inquired of Yah, right? They returned and sought Elohim earnestly. So I'm gonna ask you, are you this, right? That we're in this place right now, right? After we returned and sought Elohim earnestly, right? And it said, they remembered that Elohim was their rock, the Most High El, their Redeemer. But they flattered him and lied to him with their tongues, for their hearts was not right with him, neither were they faithful in his covenant. So I ask you that, as we say this, right? Even after seeing the punishments, I don't want that, you know, and we'll say, and we seek Yahweh, because I'm telling you that seeking Yahweh don't mean that you are with him. Seeking Yahweh doesn't mean that your heart is right. I want y'all to understand that. That Yah has this whole passage, I forget, I think it's in Isaiah, it says, and you seek Yahweh daily to know his justice. He's like, but as if you are people that didn't break my covenant. Like, you're looking for me, acting like you really are seeking for me, but you know you're not really finding me, right? Because your heart ain't right. There's a lot of people seeking for Yah. Their heart still ain't right. So they found the wrong path. And they're lying to themselves about the path that they're on, saying, I know Yah. I'm walking with Yah. A lot of people are lying to themselves about the path that they're on because they believe that they're earnestly seeking Yah means that they found him. But he said, what? This is a narrow path. Many be that search, few be that find it. So understand that you might have an earnest search for Yah. Don't mean that you found him. It doesn't mean that your heart is purified because you earnestly seek him, right? But they flattered him with their mouths and lied to him with their tongue, for their hearts was not right with him. Neither were they faithful in his covenant. But he, being merciful, forgave their iniquity and destroyed them. Yes, many times he turned his anger away and didn't stir up all his wrath. He remembered that they were but flesh, a wind that passes away and doesn't come again. How often they rebelled against him in the wilderness and grieved him in the desert. They turned again and tempted Elohim and pained or limited the Holy One of Israel. And so once again, this is a great, like the lesson on covetousness. Right after this is like perfect to listen to again. But when I do the lesson on faith, which I have yet touched with y'all, because that's gonna be that's a 3-part lesson. Is long, is big, and it's y'all not all ready for that, right? But this lack of faith in Yah and tempting him, it stopped Yah from being able to do what he wanted to do. Such as we saw with Messiah. You know, yes, he's the healer. He's the all-powerful. Yah can do anything. And so this is that Christian talk. There's nothing he can't do, right? But if your heart is still not right with Yah, if your heart is asking and praying towards Yah, not on his perfect will, right? Not on his will, but your will and your desire, then your prayers will not be answered by him, or what you are seeking or the work of Yah in your life can be stopped. The faith that he really wants to show you and prove to you, you can stop him. He needs your faith to work out your faith in your life. He doesn't need you. You need him. But in order for him to work with you, he has to work through your faith. And so if you're not walking with Yah in the right faith, in the right heart in this faith while you search him out, you stop him. You stop him from doing all that he wants to do for you. Last one, Psalm 95. Oh, come, let's sing to Yahweh. Let's shout aloud to the rock of our salvation. This is prophetic. This is us, the 144 that learned that lesson that we just read. Let's come before his presence with thanksgiving. Let's extol him with songs. But Yahweh is a great power, a king above all Elohim, all powers. For, in his hand, y'all, in his hand are the deep places of the earth. The heights of the mountains are also his. The sea is his. He made it. His hands formed it, formed the dry land. Oh, come, let us worship and bow down. Let's kneel before Yahweh our maker. Who prays like this? For he is our Elohim. We are the people of his pasture and the sheep in his care. Today, oh, that you would hear his voice. How many times he's been begging you, just hear it today. Don't harden your heart as in Meribah, as in the day of Massah in the wilderness. This is for us now. When your fathers tempted me, tested me, and saw my work. 40 long years I was grieved with that generation and said, it is a people that errs in their heart. They have not known my ways. Therefore I swore my wrath, they won't enter into my rest. So I ask you all now, as you all say you seek Yah, you want to know him, you want the kingdom, you want out of Babylon. I don't really believe that all of y'all want the wilderness, but you want somewhere out of Babylon. Is your heart right with Yah? All right, that's the end of my lesson. Any questions?